Valley poker players. The $60,000 guaranteed Trailblazer Poker Tour is coming to Texas Card House RGV from December 19th through December 29th. $175 buy-in. Tons of great perks for playing at this tour stop. Flights at 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. every day except Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. For full details, structure, and more, visit TexasCardHouse.com. The PokerAtlas Tour is coming to TCH Social Austin, December 3rd through 16th. 15 different tournaments, including the $250,000 stocking stuffer and the $500,000 title event. For full details, structures, and satellite information, visit the PokerAtlas app or TexasCardHouse.com.
And good morning, and we are right in the middle of that PokerAtlas tour. This is the final table of the Big O tournament we had just a couple of nights ago here at TCH Social Austin. I'm William Lottie, the New York Net, with you. I've got Uncle T alongside me. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning
good
to
afternoon,
you.
Good evening. Good
and
night.
We've got aces right off the bat for Nick, and not going to raise. Mixing with some kings and one suit, but no lows, and you fold the kings. This is a game where we get to fold the kings.
Yeah.
So Eric with a solid hand, an ace and a deuce and a nut suit and a 4 and a 3. Like he's got all kinds of scoop ability here. This is a high-low game for those unfamiliar. And Queen Jack 4, which is going to be a baby club draw for Eric, and an open open-ender for Nick. Not an open-ender, a gut shot for Nick.
Yeah, gut shot. One-legged open-ender.
Nick does have the dry ace, and Eric going to move all in with his club draw and his backdoor low draw, backdoor wheel draw.
Yeah, pretty short stacked, so I get it.
And Nick doesn't actually have a lot of this flop. He just has an overpair. Like he's happy that there's no front door low draw because his low is not good.
Yeah.
We don't want the 61 here. And let's it go. I do think Eric probably had some more equity there as far as being able to scoop this thing. So for those unfamiliar, Big O is 5-card, pot limit Omaha, 8 or better. So pot limit Omaha, you see that a lot on this show, especially in the bomb pots, except you're getting 5 cards here. You have to play exactly 2 of them at showdown. And this is a high-low split. So the high hands gets half the pot. And then if there's a low available, the other half of the pot goes to the best low hands. You want 5 unpaired cards, 8 or lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is the best possible low. The wheel. And that is how Big O works.
Yeah.
So you want that ace deuce.
Yeah, you want the ace deuce. Now, ideally, I mean, in a perfect world, you have 2 deuces, so you block that nut low.
Ace, king, king, jack 3 with nut diamonds. Pretty good for Eric. Makes it 15,000. Makes some good lows with that ace 3 as well.
Yeah. A couple low blockers were folded.
Nick going to come along. Kind of a raggedy hand. Does have a suited ace. The low is less great. And the other thing is, like, he's got a lot of middle cards. You're going to have a hard time scooping that way. KMR going to just go for it. Ace, jack, 7, 5 deuce.
Yeah, I
clubs
like that
and
hand.
Diamonds. Moves all in. And Eric all in on top. Going to say, please don't have aces. Not going to like to see this ace deuce. Nick's going to get out of there. And we're going to get ourselves a run out here.
So our first at-risk player, KMR, very short stacked. Likes the ace deuce. Got a little bit of a backup with the 5 if the deuce or the ace hits. Let's see what we got.
And
there's
Queen,
the
jack, deuce, 2 hearts. Nobody with a heart draw. Eric with the better
3.
low draw. Not anymore, though. 75 low draw and KMR.
Ace 5 is going to be the best low.
Jackson 7s for KMR. And then also the 51 low for KMR. So he's going to scoop.
That's great for the short stack. First couple of hands. By the way, folks, if you don't hear the players talking right now, the first couple of hands, we don't have audio on the table. It will join us on the next hand. So we'll get to hear what the players say if they're in
some
talking.
point soon. Yeah, so I think we're just taking a moment to read the cards because these showdowns are a little tricky. Yes, this is a scoop. Jackson 7s for high, 51 low. So the 5 and the 1, the ace is a
Yep.
1 in low blow.
Yeah, that's where that having that 5 as a backup to the ace deuce really helped, because the deuce and the 3 hit, which totally
Yeah.
invalidated the other players.
Yeah, KMR gets counterfeit, but then
Yeah.
Eric gets. Was it Eric? Yeah,
Yeah.
Eric gets counterfeit as well.
Which you typically see. So I'm going to ask you a question. You're a specialist in a lot of these split pot games. Where do you rank Big O in your best of?
And it's not one of my favorites. Like there's a lot of variance in this game.
Oh yeah.
There's definitely some edges. Like I'm not an Omaha guy in general. I'm more of a draw game guy. Triple draw tournament this Wednesday. I won't actually be in town, but it's happening on Wednesday, and you should go.
Yeah,
But,
we're gonna be live streaming that on Wednesday night. I'll be here with my buddy Kyle, the Frisbee, the Whammo.
JD gonna open it up. He's got ace deuce. Gonna open from under the gun. No nut suit for him. So one of the lighter holdings. Nick, ace, queen, 8-6. Again, just the queen high suit. Not a good low. You could just fold this. He folds this. And wait for these graphics to catch up. By the way, Nick knocked me out 2 away from final table. So just keep that in mind.
I saw that you didn't make the final table, and just barely. Of course, we're only taking 8 on this table because of the number of cards that are in play.
Mixon's in there, ace deuce of his own.
No one actually
He's
in
got
the
the nut
5
suit.
seat.
Yeah, just the trophy.
Just the trophy.
And Eric in there, defending big blinds. Queen Jack 7 is going to be a gutter for Eric and a gutter for JD.
Not something JD wants to see with just the 1 low.
Mixon has top pair. And also nut diamonds for Mixon. So Mixon's high looking pretty good right now. We check through. Ace King gets there for Eric.
And there's no low. Keep in mind, folks, you've got to have 3 cards, 8 or under.
Also, worth noting, JD has a gutter that's not going to be great and is going to be chopping. If it gets there, he'll get out. Mixon still has the nut diamonds, and he does have aces, not aces up, queens up. He's got queens and 10s. He's got a nut flush draw facing the all-in from Eric. This is a hand that has, this is a hand that's never dead. It's so easy to be up against ace king. Less likely you're up against 9-8 because you really don't like having middle cards in this game. He probably doesn't open those.
Yeah, if you guys think about your middle wraps for PLO, not here, not this game. Middle wraps look good, are not good.
Yeah. And he is thinking this one over. This would be about a third of his chips. And this is a hand, like I said, it's never dead. And diamonds are going to be good. Like any diamond should be good because a queen or a 10 of diamonds would fill him up. He is going to let it go.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good fold. I mean, what's his equity maximum there? 20 plus at the most.
Yeah, we'll say that we got 2 queens that are almost certainly good. We've got 2 10s that are probably good. The big blind could have a set of jacks though. And then we have how many diamonds? That leaves us like 7 diamonds that we haven't accounted for. So 11 outs. Yeah, not quite enough equity if we're behind.
Now, real quick, what is the best equity you can have pre-flop? Because of the variance of this game, I mean, what is...
I'm not sure precisely what the best hand is. It's probably something like double-suited aces with like a 3 and a deuce.
Yeah.
Like ace, 4,
so,
3 deuce,
but at the
double-suited.
most, you got 30%. Correct? It's just that the equity is so spread through everyone participating that it's just not a game that you ever are dominating pre-flop.
Tasty with aces and 1 suit. Aces and 5s with a jack makes it 12K. JoJo with a whole bunch of middle cards that look good, except they're not going to scoop. If we're playing 5-card high, he's all in there.
Yeah.
Like if we're playing 5-card PLO, but we're not. We're playing PLO 8.
Yep.
Tasty just going to take it down.
Probably the most important thing to recognize in this game is the differences with PLO. It's a huge difference. The variance is higher. Those middle wraps are not good. I mean, you really have a different kind of polarizing look to your hand. Would you agree?
Yeah, we need hands that either like when we make the high, there's probably not a low, or hands where like we can win both halves of the pot. The thing is with those middle cards, the reason we bash them, a lot of the times when they make nut straights, there's a low.
Yeah.
And if we can't win the low, that's not good for us.
You're never going to scoop it. And you're looking for scoopability.
Yes, we're looking for scoopability.
So what does that mean? I mean, I'm
We
always
can-
going to defer to you.
And like I said, we can win the high and the low, or we can win a high and there's almost never a low.
Right.
So if you give me like aces and kings and a queen and two suits,
Yeah.
like if we connect, there's probably no low, and it's like that's fine. Then we win the whole pot. Like if you're giving me like 10, 10, 9, 8, that's pretty awful. Like we make a straight and there's a low, and
it's the
that's
dummy
not
end of the
good.
straight. So
yeah. And
suited ace for Eric. He's got the ace
yeah.
deuce. Not
Yeah.
much for JD.
Nick could defend big blind. It's kind of marginal. Like I wish our cards were higher or lower here.
Yeah.
Like the 10-8-7 is the no man's land. He does have two suits, which and one of them is a nut suit. A button versus big blinds. Like even our non-nut flushes could win sometimes.
And on the button here, this is
Makes the
really
call.
good move. Really good move by Eric because he's put max pressure on what's just the blind at this
Yeah.
point.
He just about potted it. We're playing 4, 8, and 8 right now. So pot would be the 28.
The nines
And
hit.
nut diamond draw for Nick. Set of nines for Eric.
His ace
And
seven.
also
for
the
Nick.
nut low draw for Eric.
Yeah, he hasn't got quite enough. He does have the nut diamonds.
Eric, so Eric has the, well, yeah, you
He's
mean Nick,
opening
yeah.
it.
Yeah, he's just going to get in there.
Yeah.
We're going to get in. So he's got the, he's got nut diamonds, he's got a combo draw, he's got a low draw, and we're all in just like that.
This is where Nick wants to see a blackjack or a 6. You know,
A deuce wouldn't be bad either to counterfeit the low draw.
he
There's
does
a
get
six
the
of hearts,
so he
so
has the straight.
straight flush draw for Nick, and then the queen of hearts, that's going to be hearts for
7-5.
Nick.
Yeah. But he's going to chop
Yeah.
it because of the ace deuce. The ace deuce does play.
That's right, they chop it up. Hearts for Nick, nut low for Eric. Chop it up.
Yep, just a little $6,000 small blind grab for both players.
One other thing I'll note for those unfamiliar with big blind antes in PLO games or any kind of pot limit game, the big blind ante does not count towards the pot before the flop.
Good point.
After the flop, it will. So we're playing 4, 8, and 8. If you pot it and there's no action in front of you, pot is to 28,000 right now.
Yep. Yep, it's a real good point. Something I had to kind of get in touch with, having played Big O but not played it in tournaments. Kind of had to get in touch with that pot differential. Now, do you spend time always knowing the pot?
If I'm paying enough attention, I generally know what the pot is.
I guess I'm not there yet. I'm like, the dealer's getting paid for that.
Yeah.
I want to generally know what the pot is, but it's not required.
Yeah, sometimes it gets tricky, and we want to check each other. And
Yeah. And I'll take time to stare at it, frankly. I'll look at the cards that are in there, then I'll do the calculation in my head. A lot of middle cards so far for everybody.
JoJo number 1 has a pretty good holding there.
Yeah.
Would be better if he had a nut suit, but we'll still take it. Ace, King, Jack, 5, 4. We can open that. And JD probably defending button. He's got a really sweet low hand.
Yeah, very hard to get counterfeited here. Just almost impossible.
2 suits for him, too.
Yep. And the nut spades, yeah.
Yeah, this is where we fold kings. Yep.
Kings, big pocket pairs.
Ooh,
are
Professor. He's got a suited ace, and he's got a couple of deuces. So Professor with
just good
nut low
blocking here.
potential.
Yeah. Very unlikely he gets a deuce here.
5-5-3 is going to be a full house for JD.
JoJo's got the 5 as well. Is not now.
He has top trips. He could be in trouble here.
Yeah, he could.
He also has a 41 low draw. So he's actually not upset with this flop. And JoJo does make it 72,000. He goes pot. And JD has a hand that can happily get in. He has full house. And he does have the 41 low draw, the second nut low right now.
Yeah, he loves this.
Yeah, he can very happily get in here. He has top boat. In fact, I consider just flatting if I'm JD.
Yeah, and you're
And
really
let
hoping that
JoJo.
somebody's got the nut clubs here. You know, it's we're always aware of the pairs on the boards. Just too with 5 cards, too likely that somebody's got a.
He's going to go fast. He's going to move low in. Professor, just the nut low draw, has to fold. Like, he has little hope at winning the high.
Yeah,
And he knows it.
Shows his seatmate and says, "What do I do? What are you supposed to do?"
Back to JoJo, who has called off. And JoJo, at this point,
he could
drawing
only really
pretty
hit
thin
a 6 here. Otherwise,
and ace would chop the high.
Yeah.
And ace would give them the same boat for high. Also, he could hit one of his other overs. A king or a jack would give him the high.
There's
The 6 is going to give the 41 low.
So JD's got 6s, 5s over 6s now.
Yeah, and we're going to chop this up because JoJo playing the 41 low. In fact, no, he's going to get 3/4.
Yeah.
JD also has the 41, so JD going to get 3/4. JoJo going to get 1/4. He's going to lose half his stack.
Yeah. Boy, that always sucks. That always sucks. Getting quartered, you know, you try to avoid it in PLO and bomb pots with the nut straights and everything because you're so frequently chopping that into a quarter.
Yeah, so same deal here where straights get you quartered and trips can get you quartered. Like a boat with trips I put in that same bucket, like you can get quartered.
Yep.
And then the lows can get you quartered. Like you can both have the ace deuce quite easily.
I mean, the frequency for you Hold'em players, the frequency of boats being chopped is so low. In this game, it is not. It is quite common to see people, like those two hands were similar in that regard. It's very common to see those chops with boats. Yet you just don't get the surge. Now, obviously, JD there is in really good shape when he sees that he flops the boat.
Yeah, he's just really fading the overs at that point.
Right.
Like the nightmare would be like if a king peels on the turn and it's like now you're scooped potentially.
And he did have the ace, the 1 over, but all of his other cards were low and not likely to help if a face card did come out.
All right, so JD cuts JoJo in half, and JD increases that chip lead. JD, a very accomplished player around Austin.
Yeah.
Mixon also has built himself quite the resume in the last couple of years. A lot of familiar faces around Austin at this final table.
Yeah, I mean, you can go through sustained, don't get us wrong, you can go through sustained lucky streaks in Big O, but in the long run, I think this game, like some of them, that the split pot games, is where the really superior players end up at the cream at the top.
Look at KMR folding an ace deuce. Yeah. Not everybody's capable of doing that, but like it's not like we should just be playing any ace deuce. He didn't have a good suit. He didn't have other low backup. He didn't have scoop ability. Look at JD. He's got aces and a deuce and a nut suit.
Yeah.
And this could 3-bet over Eric. Eric opens his ace 7-7-5-3 with a suit, and JD does pot it up to 78. And we'll see the riff-raff get out of the way. I don't know if Eric continues here.
Yeah, he loves his clubs, and that's about all. Ace 3 is, he does have the ace 5 as backup if he gets counterfeited, the 5-3.
And like you could just be up against ace deuce as well as the problem.
Yeah. Like PLO, you're just always thinking and targeting the nuts. How many times do I have the nut draw here? And he's going to give it up.
Let's it go.
I agree with that. And he's going to hear he's going to tell him.
He's going to show some of the relevant cards.
Yeah, he's going to show all the relevant cards there. Ace, ace, deuce.
He isn't lying. He did have 2 other.
So not too much movement in the stack sizes to start here. Eric's low. Kenny, my buddy Kenny, KMR, is kind of low.
Yeah, just JD quartering him That was the one really big pot we've had so far.
Yeah.
Just a few hands in, though. And if this PokerAtlas tour sounds like fun, guess what? It is going on right now.
Yes, it is.
As we speak, our 250K guaranteed tournament. It's in the last of the day ones. There's 3 day ones today.
Yep.
First one's going on as we speak. The last one, I think, starts at 9 tonight.
Yeah, that's the turbo.
The Turbo. Come over here, TCH Social Austin, if you want to get in on that. I think they were tracking towards an overlay as of this morning.
Yeah.
So potentially some free money.
Yeah, today's that with 3 different bullets you could fire at it today. Today's the day that if you want to come down and give it a shot, I gave it a shot last night. Didn't do so well. Made a really terrible shove and went home with my tail between my legs. How many bullets have you fired at it so far?
Just the one last night.
Last night. Yeah, I saw you last night.
Yeah, I've been a bit busy. I haven't been able to get over here, unfortunately.
And traveling soon. Yeah.
Yeah, traveling too is a thing. So Nick has the best high right now with a pair of 9s. Not that we really love middle pair in this game, but Mixon has even less than that, so Nick's C-bet does get the fold. And Nick did also have a backdoor to the nut low.
So let's talk about this game positionally. Now, we always talk about deuce to 7 is the ultimate position.
We always want position.
We really want position here. Is it more important than it is in PLO or Hold'em?
I'd say it's about as important.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say it's about as important. And even with the hand strength, you know, as you said, equities run so close that our edges are smaller, but we can still push those edges.
Well, how much bluffing do you see in this game?
Not a whole lot.
It's just too much variance to even try it, right?
Well, it also depends on whether your opponents could ever fold.
Yeah.
Like if I'm bluffing, it's because I'm blocking the nuts. Like maybe I have the dry ace on a flush board, or I have a nut low blocker. I somehow don't have a hand I can make lower. I have a counterfeit low, but I have a blocker. Like that's a potential bluff candidate. JD not looking to bluff here. Ace, king, 7, 6 deuce. King high suit for him. And Tasty with a pretty tasty looking hand.
That's what I would think.
Well, we thank all of you that did come into the chat. Chat us up. Hit the like button. We appreciate it. We love comments. May say something funny, say something smart, and my partner will put you up on the board.
All right, we got some 3-way action here.
And a deuce
King
and a
3
3 is going
deuce.
to counterfeit.
Nut diamonds for Mixon.
Ace
Nut
4.
low draw for Mixon.
Yeah, he's got a lot of this.
He's got too much of this probably. He's got the whole world in his hands.
King deuce 2 pair for JD. Again, we don't put as much into the 2 pair like we would in a PLO hand where you're kind of, as we always say in PLO, I've got my own outs.
And he does have the 61 low draw, which is not a great draw, but it is a draw. He goes big, he pots it, puts max pressure. I don't think Mixon should be going anywhere here.
No, I agree.
Mixon drawing to nut. Even if he doesn't have a made hand yet, he's just playing a pair of 4s for high right now.
And he blocks the wheel. Looks like he put it all in.
Yeah, this is an easy all-in, and JD is it's like 2,000 more, so of course it goes in there. And we're going to have ourselves a run out here. JD, kings and deuces, and the 61 low draw. And see what happens here. There's a 6, so kings and 6s for JD now. The nut low gets there for Mixon.
Yep.
And I believe we're going to chop this one up.
Yep. 9 was a complete blank for both players.
Nut low for
Diamonds
Mixon.
didn't show up. You know, there was some scoopability there, but they're, you know, 90% of the time when you chop, and you know, it's always frustrating to chop and hold them. Always, nobody likes to chop and hold them. Well, the player that was way behind might. In PLO, you deal with it. You just with bomb pots, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I risked all my chips and I made $75 heads up or $40. In this game, you're pretty much happy with the chop every time. Because there's so much that can vary. That last card can change everything so fast. And that's true of every game, but particularly in this game. The last thing you want to see is I've got the ace 4 there. Oh my gosh, I just got counterfeited.
Well, and The 4 peeling wouldn't be so bad for mixing because it would give him a set of 4s, which would be the high.
Yeah, it's true.
Unless the king had showed up on the end.
And like I said, he blocked the wheel effectively with the 2 4s. I mean, there's a lot of good things about Mixon's hand there that we obviously like.
Yeah, he had a great hand.
Yeah, he did. All right, hand number 10.
And JD didn't fold that. That's a great hand. He potted it. 28,000.
Yeah.
Chip leader with a good hand. He's going to be putting money in there.
Yeah. 2 really hot suited hands with the second and the first nuts, spades and diamonds.
2 good suits, ace deuce.
Yep, there's not much wrong with that hand.
We haven't talked money yet. They're not in the money yet.
No,
they're not in the money. Here's our payouts. 6 players getting paid. 6th place getting $810. 4,810 up top. 41 entries in this tournament. This one hit its guarantee.
It did.
Not like that quarter mil that's happening today that you should definitely check out here at TC8.
Yeah, come on in. Come on in and play. It was a lot of fun last night. Had a great time. We had, I want to say, 150 plus players. So I'd like to see all of our flights today do really well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as you can see, there are going to be 2 players that walk away from this table with nothing. Not something you typically see at a final table where the payouts usually go all the way through. In this case, there are 2 players. We even talked about that as we get to sweat the bubble. And
yeah, we don't get to do that too often these days. They usually just give us big final tables, not these smaller tournaments, which are a lot of fun. And I think the bubble is definitely going to influence some of this action here.
I agree.
KMR is going to get in there.
Pretty good hand for KMR. He's got ace-3 with nut spades.
So does JoJo.
JoJo is as well.
And Eric doesn't have a nut suit, but he does have aces. And if I'm Eric, I'm probably just putting it in here.
Yeah, I think his stat
we have
size
aces.
right.
We have a 3.
He does.
We can be all in.
All in for 76,000. His tournament life or at risk.
Aces are still the favorite pre-flop for the high.
Yeah.
And there's not always a low. So this is still perfectly good to do.
He doesn't know it. He blocks the ace-deuce, but there is no ace-deuce. There's deuce-4-5. So unlikely that the counterfeit up for the ace obviously comes out.
Yeah, if we find ourselves with a low, we're going to get a 6th possibly.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. The ace-3, you're not going to get a 3. You're not going to get.
And JD folds. KMR has moved to all in. Sorting out this action. JoJo could consider a fold here. Yeah, JoJo could consider a fold here because like if you call and you end up scooped, like you could very easily be bubble.
Yep.
Like you'd be left with almost nothing.
3/4 is stacked. Yeah, this is not insignificant.
Like you.
How much are you thinking about how much you gain at this point?
Yeah, like these guys are about even in terms of chips.
Yeah.
So we could just fold and hopefully one of them scoops and we lose the other. And
looks like he's leaning towards a fold.
Yeah, I think I'm preserving my tournament life here. The JoJo's hands, it has 1 suit, it has an ace-3, but it doesn't have a lot else going on for it. I don't think this is that good in a 3-way all-in.
No.
The jack and the 10 don't give you a lot of scoopability.
No. That 9 is just such an ugly card at this point.
The 10 high suit
goes
sucks.
for it. He goes for it.
He does go for it. So we have a 3-way all-in.
JoJo, one of our dealers here, and he
battle of ace-3s.
If you play with dealers, they are not afraid to get it in.
Case 3 would be sweet for JoJo because that would give him the 51 and nobody else would have a low draw.
Yeah, it would be. So we're headed towards chopping the low. So it's going to be
if there's a low.
If there is a low, that's always the question. That's the thing, folks. There's always a high. There is not always a low. So what percentage of the time do you not get a low?
I don't know the number offhand.
Just
like
well,
it's probably like 60% maybe.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Sure. I'd say, yeah.
And we see a lot of the low cards are dead.
Yes.
So.
Not a ton. There's more Broadway cards out there than there are low cards, but still, you know, if this runs out 8-7-4,
here comes our run out.
4-4-4. Oh, there's a 9.
Trip fives for JoJo.
Oh, he comes
JoJo
from
in a
behind.
commanding lead to scoop this. And there's not going to be a low. Fives full of jacks.
Oh, he's going to
Fives full of jacks, and there's no more aces.
Wow.
Fives full of jacks. JoJo
Yeah, well, I mean,
pops the bubble.
And the nut hearts for JoJo as well. He was not worried about much.
Double knockout to pop the bubble.
Wow.
Eric and KMR co-bubbles. JoJo scooping.
KMR with just a few more chips, but it doesn't matter because these players are not getting paid.
Yep. And that's a
gets
good
that
point.
look on his face,
Yep.
like,
Yep. That's a good point. If we were on the direct bubble, whoever had the more chips would get the better placement. Or if we were in the money, that dictates who gets the better placement. But all 6 of these remaining players have now locked up $810 for 6th place, and we are in the money on a double knockout.
Yep.
In the most unlikely scenario, we still have players sharing their lows. But who needs a low, right? Who needs a low when we can flop trips?
Yeah, we were just talking about how frequently you don't get a low. In this case, it was just the perfect flop for JoJo. So we're going to say goodbye to Eric and KMR. Great tournament for those guys. KMR, this is his favorite game. This is what he considers his strength, but he just got unlucky at the end.
And here I was saying JoJo could consider folding that hand. What do I know?
What do you know? I was thinking the same thing. I was like, ah. Well, we got to hand 12, but now we're down to money. So everybody now guaranteed at least $810.
Tasty. Ace King 553 with the nut suit gets in there. Mix in. Also limping. Now we're in limp mode.
Yeah,
family pot. Not quite a family pot. We got 5 of the 6 players in.
Yeah, the professor only one not in this hand.
What could possibly go wrong?
Not just everything.
Who's got clubs?
It looks
Mixon
like
has
Mixon.
clubs.
Yeah,
Mixon has clubs, and he has a wrap, and he has a royal draw.
He's got everything. Ace,
I think Mixon says pot, and everyone folds.
and the king of clubs is in play. It's not in anybody's hand.
It's a 5-way pot. Do we really want to be thinking that way?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mixon just takes it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just in case that tournament wasn't enough reasons to come out here to TCH Social Austin today, we got a little watch party going on, 3 o'clock, Georgia, Texas, SEC championship game. And
yeah, we're getting a
definitely
great contingent of Texas fans that just come in. We got a beautiful restaurant area that there'll be a last week. It was, I want to say 25 or 30 people that came in, but we still got plenty of room. Come out. We got a great menu, great food.
$1 beer, $2 jellyfish specials.
But
And
that's all you got to say, $1 beer.
$1 beer. And football.
Yeah.
And poker. You can play poker
Yeah.
too.
And we have a seat in the back for the Georgia fan.
Yep. Yeah, a bit of a revenge opportunity for the Longhorns today.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I don't want to talk too much about it because I just feel as a Longhorn I'm just uptight and out of sight like I was last week.
like they need that one for the playoffs. They need that one to get the bye. And Professor raising it up, suited ace deuce. Tasty with the suited ace deuce ends up better low, calls JoJo. Ace 7 6 4 3, pretty low hands. Gets in there as well. No nut suit for him though.
Tasty's got nut diamonds.
Yes, he does. He has the suit.
But like you said, no nut clubs for JoJo. The diamonds are also, there's 3 of them. Nick's got in his hand, so
yeah.
most likely.
So yeah, Nick's got to focus, I think.
Yeah, I think so. It's not pretty. Professor's going to play a hand for the first time tonight, post flop. Nice $100,000 in the middle.
Jack 6 6 is going to be
JoJo again flops his set.
Yeah, JoJo with trips. Professor with the same trips though. They're both playing ace 6.
Yep.
And Professor leads all in. Professor also has hearts for backup. And JoJo doesn't have that. He has top trips. He has backdoor low.
And he jams it.
He's gonna. He feels okay calling off here, but JoJo actually
I guess
not
I'll
in the
bet
best
you.
of shape because Professor has backup for high and also
And the
he's the
hearts,
better
yeah.
backdoor low.
Yep, he does.
So here we go to the run out. There's a queen, which gives Professor a gut shot as well that he doesn't need. And there's
He
the
gets
straight
the
that he
gut
doesn't
shot.
need.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it gives him the whole high.
Yeah, it does.
So he kind of needs it.
Yeah, he kind
He
of
wasn't
does.
going to lose, but
No, he was not.
now he scoops.
So really good hand for him. JoJo, who had gotten up to second place in the chips, is now back in the pack a little bit. But we're not that much into a dominant player or two on the table. You know, sometimes at these final tables, in a bigger tournament, you have one or two players that just have a monster stack. We don't have that today. How many did you say made this tournament?
41 entries
41.
in this tournament.
Yeah.
We see JD, our chip leader, just 50 bigs for him. And our shorty right now, Tasty, 98K, which is like a dozen bigs, which is not as terrible as it sounds. Like that actually lasts a while in a game like this.
Well, you're the master of the short stack play.
it's
I've seen that in action.
And this is a split pot game. And this is a game where pots don't always escalate pre-flop a whole lot. So like, we could actually see a few flops. We don't have to hit the panic button here.
Well, thank you, Brian. You're our favorite listener. If you weren't before, you are now. McFrosty's tuning in.
Yeah. I think that none of that chat is actually live. Look at the timestamps.
Oh, you kidding?
I think that's from last night.
Oh, well, then I'm gonna act like it was to us.
Okay. That's fair.
Fair enough. I mean, we did the other one.
Yeah, I think that was the last time we were on.
Okay.
JoJo has a good hand, and JoJo raised his pretty good hands. JD has a better hand.
Yeah.
I think JD's going to be raising this. He has double suited aces with 2 3s. And we just seen ace deuce hit the muck instantly. No, not instantly. Back it up. This should hit the muck, though. This is not a very good ace deuce. We don't have a nut suit. We have too many clubs. We don't want 8s.
Yeah, the 8s and 6. You know, it's nice to have the 6,
he folds.
I guess. But
And Professor gets to fold kings because we're playing Big O, and we get to fold kings.
yep.
And
Probably not folded in a PLO game or a bomb pot for sure not.
JoJo going to make the call. He's got about half pot behind. Big O heads up to the flop. I think the flop is what decides it often in this spot as far as whether we get in. 8-5 deuce, diamonds. JoJo has a bad diamond draw. He has a gutter to the wheel. JD with nut diamonds and a gutter of his own to the wheel. And JD should be all in here, I suspect. And
Yeah, he loves
see what
that
JoJo
deuce.
does. And he also has a pair of aces, which is the better high. JoJo makes the call. JoJo at risk here.
A good call. I mean, he's
JoJo needs a hand needs a card that's gonna make him that low. He's gonna need a 3. The diamond's no good for him.
Yeah, I guess that wasn't a good call.
JoJo's
Those
way
aces,
behind.
Yeah, those aces really.
He needs it or a jack to make him the set. JoJo significantly behind.
and at risk.
10 of hearts. JoJo needs a 3 or a 9 to stay alive. Gets neither.
Yeah, really.
JD gonna scoop. He's got nut low, and he's got a pair of aces for high. And I
Even
believe
say
that will
goodbye
do
to
it for JoJo.
Yeah, out in 6th place. I believe $810 is the payout for that.
I
Kind of a
believe so.
roller coaster ride for him. He'll take his last little sip and gonna say goodbye.
Put the payouts up real quick. Our remaining 5 players have secured themselves $1,080. Next page up is one whole buy-in.
Yeah,
Going to go up to $1,480 for whoever's in 4th. And we'll get ourselves on to the next hands. 5 players left. Our Big O final table, part of this PokerAtlas tour at TCH Social Austin.
as we get a shot of our tournament director Josh in there, checking everybody out.
Mix in with a solid opening hand here. An ace and a deuce and 2 good suits. And I believe he's made it pot, which is going to be 35. I think blinds are up. Yes, blinds are up. We're at 5, 10, 10 now. Forget the graphics. Yeah, blinds are 5. There we go. They got the graphics right.
They got
5,
it.
10, 10.
All you had to do is speak it into existence.
And he takes it.
All right, hand number 15. Racking right through it. As with any final table, we're not sure how long this is going to go at this point.
We go until we have a winner, until
That's
we have a
right.
chop.
So it can be 10 minutes from now or it can be 4 hours from now.
I don't think they're going to finish in 10 minutes.
I don't either. I don't think
I
they'll finish
hope
in
not.
4
Like if they
hours.
finish in 10 minutes, they chopped.
Yeah. Yeah, probably not going to be talking about chops in this tournament. I think that I'd want to play it out.
Yeah, it's not a life-changing amount of money or anything like that.
No, and you want that trophy. Of course, if you ICM it, I'm never going to ICM it in this game, but then the top money would get the trophy. Aces and queens for Nick. Not a
Nixon
good.
with the deuce to 7 wheel.
Yes, hey.
This would be really great to have on Wednesday.
Now, of course, you can't have a Badoogie in this game, but that's pretty dang close.
Well, I mean, 4 of his cards make it Badoogie.
Yeah.
Like if we were playing Badusi, like that's an amazing hand. He'd
It
have
is.
7-7.
So tell him what Badusi is exactly.
Badusi is a split between Badoogie and deuce to 7.
Yeah.
And in the Badoogie half, the deuce is low instead of the ace.
Yeah.
That would be a really great hand. He'd have the nut deuce to 7, and he'd have a really, really good Badoogie, like a 7 perfect doogie.
Yep.
And
so
but that's
folks,
no good in this game. Nick
No.
raised and took it with his aces, which are good hands in this game.
yeah. Folks, having played those games with this man sitting to my left, I can tell you, you don't want to. Because it comes out of his head just as fast as he said it right there. So
Now, if only I could see those cards in my hand instead of the other guy's hands, I'd have a lot more winnings. Nick limping in.
kings and tens for Tasty.
The thing with limping in this game, though, is you often just get an avalanche of limps behind you, and the equities are super close, and
So,
it's
yeah.
either you're going to hit or you're going to fold.
Yeah.
Tasty kings and tens. It's a high-only hand. So he's going to be hoping for high cards on the flop, and he flops a set of tens, and there's only one low card.
Yep.
So this is about as good as he could hope.
Yep.
Jackson tens for Mixon is going to be even better because he can get
Spades,
action.
and he's got spades.
That's right, 10 high spades for Mixon. And Tasty going to pot it. And Mixon has top 2 and a spade draw and an open ender.
You stay
In fact,
this
he has
hand-
top 3.
Yeah.
Mixon actually
Yeah,
has top 3.
yeah.
So I think he's going to be getting in with Tasty here.
Again, the difficult thing is you got your own outs. Now, you can't know the tens are not even there.
Yeah, no, but he has everything now. I
He
mean,
does.
we have 3 pair and we have 2 draws. This is,
Yeah.
like, I think we call, and if somebody repots behind us, we fold. Which we're almost never getting popped.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually going to move all in himself, and Tasty going to put the last of it in, and Tasty looking to fade half the deck here.
Tasty
No
hasn't
spade.
played a lot of
Yeah,
hands.
no spade,
far.
no queen, no 7,
Wow.
no jack. So
that
far,
is a
so
blank.
good.
Yeah, that's total blank.
Can he hold one more time? The queen gets there, and that'll be the straight to the queen for Mixon, and we're going to say goodbye to Tasty in 5th place.
First hand he really plays post flop, and it turns out like that. Well, so we're down to 5.
We're down to 4, actually.
4, yeah, we were at 5.
I just heard somebody say want to chop.
Well, you can see JD's got no motivation to top at this point.
Yeah,
Like,
you
he's
better
got-
give, like, if you're going to give JD first place money, sure.
He's got 38 to 40% of the.
Like,
of
if
the
I'm in
chips.
JD's seat, I'm saying, give me first place money.
Yeah, y'all figure out the rest.
Yeah, you do whatever you want.
Yeah. And you see that snow cone? It's all mine.
Yeah. And clearly they haven't chopped, and I thank them for not making me drive all the way here to call a 45-minute final table.
He made it sound like he drove from Detroit.
Yeah, we are on a 36-hour delay essentially. This happened Thursday night.
Yeah, I had the hardest time telling people, don't tell me what happened.
Yeah, same here. Like I don't want to say. So like, do you see what happened? No, I don't want to know.
Yeah, KMR sent me a text immediately upon busting. Oh, but that's the only person I found out about. So far,
Blinds on blinds. JD limping in.
kind of
Like this is a raggedy hand, but we can limp it blind versus blind.
Yeah. No
King,
in play.
4, 2 clubs, baby clubs for Nick. They both have a weak low draw. Nick has the better hand with a pair of jacks.
He's probably going to go check all the way down.
No, Nick makes it 20.
No, he just
ends it now.
Interesting.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Like usually JD's not going to have anything, and we do have a club draw for backup.
Yeah.
You can tell me if it was watered down.
Yeah, so that's a level of play that I'm not there.
That's a nice little pickup for our short stack, Nick.
Yeah.
Slightly though. It tasted like a rotten apple.
So you're looking at chip sizes or stacks, and what do you think of your JD? How do you want to play?
So if I'm JD, like I'm not necessarily desperate to get tangled up with Mixon, who has aces right now. That said, like I am happy to push my edge around. Like if I do find myself with one of those middle stacks, they're both pretty handcuffed, ICM wise. So like while Mixon could make my day miserable, I also want to push him around a little bit, as well as Professor, because they don't want to go broke before Nick.
Yep. And Professor does raise his.
He's got his
low,
ace-3 deuce.
Nice backup.
2 diamonds. 2 spades.
Yeah, this is a nice hand. You wish
Mixon
that
has aces, though.
Yeah, you wish that ace-8 was a little higher, but.
So Mixon has aces and a suit. This could 3-bet, like once it gets to him. First one, Nick, who I think is going to be folding here.
Yeah, Professor hasn't played many hands. He hasn't really had anything to play so far.
Our graphics may also be glitched. No, I think Mixon calls. I have the turn order wrong. So Mixon flatted the aces, and now Nick's going to call as well. Mixon could have 3-bet, but again, I think ICM might be at play here. Like he doesn't necessarily want to just stack off right now. Queen 9-5 is going to be top set for Nick. He's going to be glad he called probably. Mixon does have top pair, and he has aces.
And Professor does have a gutter.
And there's some backdoors for a couple of our players. Nick is going to just go ahead and move in with his top set. And Professor is going to have a hard time doing anything here. Yeah. He just has backdoors. That's not really going to be enough.
Backdoors and a gutter.
Yeah.
Does this just scream set at you?
This is like either set or some kind of a wrap, maybe. So like Nick could have some wraps, having taken the line that he took pre-flop.
Yeah.
Which a wrap is going to have piles of equity for high. I think Professor really just needs to fold here. He doesn't have a pair. He just has backdoors and a gutter. And the gutter's not even to the nuts.
No.
This is just not a good hand.
Smart player gives it up.
Mixon with the more interesting choice. He also chooses to fold. He actually blocks top set. That was the case queen.
Yep. Good pot. 90,000 pot for Nick.
And he's not the short stack anymore. Like he's put himself right up there with Professor and Mixon. Professor now the shortest by a little bit. So there's no super short stack.
No, there's
which,
not. Or,
like just like that, it changes
stack.
the dynamics of this final table. You have JD who has more than twice anyone else, and then they're all in the same neighborhood. So it's not like they're going to be waiting out somebody with 5 bigs to go broke.
Yeah.
JD with a pretty good hand.
Yeah, he's got the spades, he's got the diamonds, he's got ace-3, 3 Broadway cards. He's going to raise it.
Does not go full pot. You don't have to go full pot. Everybody goes full pot. You don't have to go full pot.
No. Guys, listen to us, bomb pot players. You don't have to say the P word every time you think you've got something.
Nick calling pretty light on the button. They're going to go heads up. He does have position, but he has a hand that's going to have a very hard time making a nut hands on either side.
Yeah. If a jack comes out on this board, and it does,
Ace, jack, deuce. So
they block
JD,
each other.
JD with top pair and nut spades.
Yeah.
Nick has a gutter, and he has a pair of deuces.
Yeah. Both players have counterfeited their lows.
Yeah, that's right. Neither player is going to make front door low.
JD's going to take the aggressive stance.
JD still has the better backdoor low. He could end up with a live 3.
Yeah.
Makes it 40. I don't think we get that far, though. Nick just has a straight draw and a deuce. Not a very good hand.
No clubs on the board, probably the tipping point.
Not that clubs would even be a good backdoor.
No, it wouldn't.
And so JD going to take that probably a street later than he should have. Like I honestly, if I'm in Nick's seat, I'm not trying to rag on him. Like, that's a hand that gets you in a lot of trouble in this game.
Yeah.
Like, we end up with a second best high, we end up with a second best low, and JD just scoops us with like an ace 3 and a better flush, or like a straight versus R2 pair.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much with every hand, you've got to be thinking about just strictly the nuts. I mean, it's just too frequent that you've got.
Yeah, as players have more cards, you have to be nuttier.
So-
That said, we're a four-handed game. I can get away with some less nutted hands, but like, you're up against an early position open. That's
Well,
that's
that's
gonna
what
be
I
the
was just
strongest
about
range.
to ask you. So, how much does your game change when you get down to 4 players like this?
Well, like, I'm in the cutoff, right? Like, I'm always like, the cutoff's the worst position I'm going to be in, so like, I get to play that wider range. JD has too many kings. He's going to be folding. 3 is too many. You only get to use 2 of them.
There's nothing worse than you get in a PLO hand or a bomb pot hand. You get those aces or those kings, and then the last card you look at is another one.
And so Mixon just takes that one down.
It was exciting back when we had the quads in your hand. Pay
Yeah,
off.
back
That
when
was nice.
I missed that promo.
Yeah. Well, I never got even close. My friend Baja got it one night with 4 queens in his hand.
Yeah, I've never had quads in my hands where there's been a promo. I've had quads in my hands elsewhere.
No, I've never had four of a kind in my hand.
I don't recommend it.
Yeah, it's not.
My favorite, one time I had 4 aces in Baduki.
Oh my gosh.
We don't want 4 aces.
No.
Like, we want 4 suits, but we want 4 different cards. If we're playing high dookie, I have the nuts.
Yeah. Hi, Doogie.
That's a very niche game.
Hi, Doogie. Oh my gosh, that I haven't played.
Yeah, that's a much more niche game. Mixon has aces, but he also has way too many diamonds. These are bad aces.
Yeah, no low.
These are bad aces. He has a bad low, and he has too many diamonds.
JD's
That said,
come
if this
along.
is a high only board, he's in good shape because we got a lot of broadways.
Tons of Broadways.
So
out
we have aces versus kings in a limped pot. How often do we get to say that?
there.
JD has the best low.
And an all low hand.
7-4 deuce. JD does flop himself the 53 low.
And he
Mixon
can
with an
get the
81.
wheel. He can hit a 6, although it's the dummy end at that point.
Nobody with the spade draw. Mixon going to continue for 20,000. He's got his 81 low. And nobody's that impressed with their hands. He's just going to take it down. The thing is, with the 53 low, he didn't really have a good high.
Yeah.
Like, he's got an open ender for the high.
Yeah.
And like, that was about it. He just, and the other problem is there's 2 spades and we don't have spades.
Yep.
So it's just way too easy. And so, yeah, JD had a good looking low, but he had no scoop ability, so he makes the fold. You don't go chasing half the pot.
Well, so so you bring up a point that in listening to you, I always learn something. This is all the reason I show up to do this with you. I just want to learn something because I know I'm getting it for free.
Whether it's useful or not is another question.
Yeah, it always
But,
is. You undersell yourself.
Yeah.
But this is a game where you're constantly thinking about folding. It's a folding game. I don't like to say any game's a folding game.
It's a game where you've definitely got to pick your spots.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a minefield because of the variance. It's just a minefield.
Yeah, like it's like the best case scenario, like for JD, like he could easily be getting free rolled.
Yeah. In Hold'em, you'll oftentimes sit there and think to yourself, okay, this is a hand that I'm going to take a chance with because it's also an easy to fold hand. With these, you want to think about making the nuts, and then you're looking to fold. So you're standing in the door of the airplane with your hand on the D ring. You're ready to bail out at any moment.
Yeah.
You're never comfortable, is what I'm saying, basically.
I have flopped the nuts straight and folded in this game before.
Well, again, the nut straight is a chop.
And I was right. I was getting free rolled.
Yeah.
So, like, I had the nuts straight. I had no backup. I had no flush draws or anything like that.
Yeah.
I had no low.
Yeah.
And somebody else had the straight and they had draws. So it was a situation where they could win. The best I could do was chop it. They could scoop me outright. And that's bad. We don't want to get free rolled.
Yeah.
And Nick has a pretty good hand. No good suit, but he does have the ace king and the deuce. So
yeah, you like to call off with his hand, not raise it. That's for sure.
And this is blind on blinds. He's raising it. Yeah. Well, so you're giving the big blind a chance to fold, which I'm never opposed to giving him a chance to fold. Like if that professor had just had some random garbage, like he could fold. Like imagine he was sitting there with 3 queens.
Yeah.
Then he just folds and we don't have to
or
sweat.
that
Instead,
middle wrap.
Professor actually has a good hand.
Yeah, he does have good.
10-6-3, nut low draw versus second nut low draw. Neither player with a pair yet. They both have ace king high.
Pair. Yeah. No backdoor spades, no backdoor hearts, only backdoor clubs. Not good. Professor's going to take the aggressive stance.
He's potted it. He's made it 70K. Actually, he has the better high right now. He has a pair of 4s.
Yeah. You think that crossed his mind?
I thought they both had ace king.
This is a positional raise, isn't it?
Yeah. This is, you don't have it. That's what this is.
Yeah.
And you know what? Nick doesn't have it.
Yeah.
He's right. Nick doesn't have it.
No. There's no low yet. There's nothing much in the high category. So I like this. This is a really smart.
So like, here's your bluff. You wanted to bluff. Here's your bluff.
He probably would not take that stance with the chip leader, but being close to it, and he takes it down. Really, really nice play there. Using your position, knowing that board just doesn't connect with much of anything.
You can aggress the chip leader if he's not going to come over the top of you.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to lose his stack. Like he doesn't want to end up swapping stacks.
And the only thing comes over the top of you there would have bet there, like a set of 10s or a set of 6s.
Yeah. Like if he came over the top, we also have an easy fold.
Yeah. And again, I think in the back of my hand, in a hand like that, yeah, but how often are a pair of 10s even going to be here?
Blinds on blinds, I think the answer is a lot.
Okay.
Especially when we're talking about a Wimp's pot or maybe like a min raise of some kind.
Speaking of 10s, JD's got.
Yeah, we don't like this hand.
No, we don't like it at all. You've got mediocre diamonds, no low.
It's another pretty lousy hands for Nick. Yeah, let's not go.
Button gives it up.
That's a walk.
Walk for our first walk of the night in hand 24.
Oh, the middle cards.
Yeah, the Jeff Gordon hand is uneventful. Kind of like when he was champion. Uneventful and boring.
Hey! What championship are we talking about? He was winning a dozen races a year. I like a good dynasty. Boring. I like a good dynasty every now and then.
I don't. Not NASCAR. I want a dogfight to the end. I want Richard Petty and, and David Pearson.
Most of those weren't clinched that far in advance.
Yeah. But, you know, to me, if you don't go into even with the playoffs now, if you don't go into the last rate you always do now. But
I hate the playoffs.
I do too. It's just, don't get me started. This is the thing about NASCAR that we agree on most. We hate the playoffs. It's the car of tomorrow all over again. Sucks.
Ace, king, king, queen, jack. Beautiful high hand for Professor. No nut suit and one too many hearts, but still pretty good high hands.
Nobody else
and he takes it down. Yeah, perfectly good hand to raise. And If we get a bunch of low cards, we get to bail out. If we get high cards, we win.
Yep. So Professor moves up a little bit, gets out of the gutter. He's got about the same as Mixon. Nick's the short stack now. JD is, again, well out in front. And the blinds are still small enough that that's more of a chip advantage at this point than it looks like. When the blinds get a little bigger, that shrinks up a little bit. The other players are more willing to get all in, and it's a little harder to protect your lead at that point.
17 bigs is nowhere near panic mode.
No.
Like, we could actually be here a while.
Yeah. Well, we didn't want you to drive all the way out here for a short session. So
like, we could need a collision of big hands. But you know what? I'll jump in the 11 a.m. If we get done early here. I'll jump in the 11 a.m.
Yeah. So it's for those of you that didn't hear my partner earlier, this was recorded a couple of nights ago. It started a little bit late. We were going to do it live, but it started after 10 o'clock. So we're doing it this Saturday morning. This is not a live game going on right now.
It's a 36-hour delay. That's what it is.
Yeah,
like, usually it's 15 minutes. Tonight's 36 hours.
Yeah, the body's not even cold. Ace deuce for Nick is going to take it down. All right, folks. So not very chatty. We don't have a ton of you. This is mostly going to be something people watch after the fact. But if you are listening to us live, chat away with us. Tell us something good. Tell us something funny. Are you firing bullets today? We want to see you in here.
Feel free to hit that like button as well if you're enjoying this.
The Whammo and I will be doing the 250K final table on Monday night. We'd love to see you on that table. So come in and fire that bullet. I'm going to fire another bullet. Can't help myself.
Here's an idea.
If I just don't play like a moron like I did last night.
That's an ask.
It's an ask. Oh, my gosh.
Okay, freeway to the flop here.
Yeah, that's a big ask. Ace 3, the best low. Kings.
Ace,
and
queen,
an ace
queen.
for Nick, and he's got no low to counterfeit it, but he's got to feel pretty good that this is going to be a high hand. Gut shot or for JD. No suits, even backdoored. No diamonds.
When check
No
two,
spades.
he's going to bet.
No clubs. Oh, we do have nut clubs for Nick.
And yeah,
So he's got
JD gets it through. He's saying, I've got a queen. He's saying, you don't have a queen.
Yeah.
And they don't have a queen.
Yeah. Well, that's the good thing about being on the button. They didn't bet a queen.
And
I'll
there's
bet
the position.
I will play my posed hand, not my actual hand. And again, like you said, this the worst position you could be in is being the cutoff here. So this is a little different dynamic. And again, as Will was saying, the blinds aren't big enough right now. You're not nervous if you're the low stack.
Half-hour levels in this tournament.
Yep. You like the new tournament structures? We changed them out quite a bit when we came over from the other building. We're doing a deeper registration time for most of these tournaments. We're taking a break a little sooner.
Honestly, I haven't been playing the dailies.
Well, I don't play
haven't
the
been around
dailies
for it.
either, but our weekly evening tournaments.
Yeah, I haven't been around for those.
Yeah, well, they're good. For those of you that after the 16th, when we go back to our regular schedule, love the Friday night 10K guarantee. Love the $300 blackjack bounty on Sunday. Come see us. We have great dailies here every day of the week, which will start back up this coming Thursday. No 6. And this has got to be a little bit scary. Nobody's got the 10s are
JD
ahead.
is ahead right now.
Yeah.
10's full of 6s. 6's full of 10s.
Yeah,
Check, but we don't need to play a big pot.
no.
And Professor gonna stab at it.
He does
And-
have 7-10. He's got the straight.
Yeah, JD makes the call.
Good call. Good call. Small pot. Hurts Professor a little bit. Probably could have got away with the check there.
Yeah, I don't think I go for thin value there with the strike, unless he's bluffing, like even having a straight,
Yeah.
because any pocket pair beats us on a 3 of the claim board.
Well, if you know Diego very well, the Professor, he's playing a lot of Big O every day. He's part of that group that's here every day playing Big O. He's got a
It's okay. We're all gonna
What's a nice way of saying shit ton?
What?
I always, folks, at least one time in our session, I try to get that look that I just got from Lottie, where he looks at me like I'm from Mars. He plays a ton of hands, so a very experienced player, very good. He's in that group. It's always there. And a Dodger fan, a big Dodger fan. Wears Otani a lot. I think he's got a couple of those shirts. Good-looking shirts. Being a Rangers fan, I don't have a problem with the Dodgers.
As a Mets fan, I do have problems with the Dodgers.
And Mets were my team when I was a kid because Nolan Ryan was there for a while. But I loved Tommy Lasorda. So
I wasn't full.
thought he was funnier than a box of monkeys.
Because I feel like if you're trying to value me, you're not going to pot
That's
it.
it, like
Pot it, you're less likely.
Jack 9 and clubs for Mixon. Hits this pretty hard. Doesn't look too much like there's a low in there.
How much did he bet? 20,000.
Would need to be runner for the low. Mixon's got to think he's pretty good here.
Is what I would prefer in this situation. Not always, but actually in
He
this
does
case,
pick it down. Hitting top two and having a pretty good club draw is all he needed.
Always still find a way to get there. Call them, no call.
Yeah. A little kind of cold and rainy this morning, and there was a storm coming in. We need rain. Does this make you feel more at home?
Well, I mean, it's not snow, but
not wet, floppy snow. My Massachusetts work partner was telling me about the big, wet, floppy snow they had. He only stayed for a day. I said, that sounds like Austin snow.
Yeah, there were a few snowflakes like the day after I left New York, apparently.
It was pretty dry when you were there. Is it cold?
Yeah, it was cold. There was some rain like over Thanksgiving, but no snow.
Good Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it was a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we talked about that the other night. You're a stuffing guy. Not I. Well, are you through your, if you're on the chat with us, are you through the turkey? Is the turkey all gone? I didn't get any leftover turkey. I was very disappointed. I love a turkey sandwich a couple days after Thanksgiving. I made a pot roast instead. I love a pot roast in the wintertime. As we roll on, we're on hand 31. Jeff Burton hand, right?
That was one of his numbers. I tend to think the 99.
Yeah, the 99 was his for a long
X-side
time.
battery score.
Yeah, the X-side. Always was a Burton fan. Liked his brother Ward better. I was listening to a race up in Fort Worth. Had him tuned in to my radio, and to say a whole sentence, it took Jeff an entire lap, or Ward an entire lap.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So talking. As Professor takes one down without much attention.
All right, may have a brief audio interruption. Be right back. Keep it right here.
Ace Jack and not much, no low. He's going to call. Mixon's got a low. Does hit the 10-5.
10s and 7s for Professor, which is better than 10s and 5s.
Yeah.
Mixon does have the better low draw. He's got the 43 draw.
And he's got a gutter with, well, he's actually open-ended with the 6-4 as well.
So Mixon does call the 20 from Professor. Ace on the turn, which is going to be aces and 10s for Professor. Mixon does make the second nut low with the 43.
Yeah, this is headed towards the chop. No spades for anybody.
Well, Mixon's got more outs to make the high. Like,
He does.
Mixon is actually free rolling right now.
It kind of is. Happy to check. And he does
Eight of
get there with the
spades on the
6-4.
end.
Now, the spades is kind of a, he's not going to feel too good, but he does have the straight.
Well, better straight for Professor, though. He's got the 10 high.
Yeah,
He's got the Jack high, actually. He's got Jack 9.
Jack 10.
Mixon has the second nut low. Third nut low. Check, chop it up.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't even see that Jack 9. Looks like a bet does take it. So would it make some bet 25K? He takes it down. That's bet there.
Although I'm happy to call him.
Professor with the spades coming out could not call with his Jack 9.
That's the problem with these one-way hands.
Yeah. Gotta have a backup.
And had no low either was the bigger problem.
That's probably the thing that I probably picked up on fastest playing Big O with you guys was that I gotta have a backup. I
That's
gotta
like
have something.
Like if he had a respectable low, he could make the crying call and say, I hope I'm chopping. But without the low, we can't even do that.
Yeah. Well, we've settled in. Our early double elimination took 2 players out of the money because we did have bubble players that were not cashing in this. And then we had a couple of
Blinds on blind, Mixon versus JD. Blinds are up 6, 12, and 12.
players eliminated in singles. Now we're down to 4.
7s and 6s for JD. Mixon pipped by JD on the low side as well.
And the low gets
Deuce
there.
comes. It's actually now Mixon with the 53 low. That's going to be the better low. Nobody with diamonds. This probably checks down. And this is heading for a chop. The 7s and 6s and the 53.
Yep.
So Mixon going to come out ahead. He's going to get half the ante.
Yeah. That's a bonus.
That was a fun hand.
That was a fun hand.
We got JD in the box now. One of our great dealers in Austin. Sorry I didn't mention the dealer before, but I always like to point out how good our dealers are here at TCH Social Austin. They're just a great crew. We got a couple of traveling dealers in for the tournament, but notice that they're very good too as we show the cash.
1,480 is what all these players are taking home. 2,140.
Yeah,
Our
guaranteed
next
1480 at this point, but they're playing for that Atlas trophy in the middle. Good looking trophy. I loved it when we had the table full of trophies. That was great. Still got quite a few left, including the 250K. So come on down. Our culminating broadcast will be on the 16th. Our buddy Aaron will be in here to do the final table of our big event. Still a couple of games coming up this week. PLO, horse, triple. Got some great games, folks, this week. Come down and get in. If you like the mixed games, there's plenty to choose from.
3 ways to this flop. Ace 4, 3. So 65 low for Nick. Mixon can make the wheel with a 5. Mixon with a pair of aces for high. There's a 6. So set of 6s now for Nick. And Mixon pulls ahead on the low. He's got a live deuce to Nick's live 5. JD cannot make a low. Nick makes a 20. And Mixon, I don't know how much he actually likes this hand. He has a live deuce. He doesn't really have a good high, so he does fold and Nick takes it.
Yeah, he didn't know it, but he was not going to get a 5 most likely. So a 7 or 8 was the best he could hope for.
We do also have the watch party today at 3 o'clock, Georgia, Texas, in that really big college football game. The dollar beer and the $2 jellyfish specials today. So check that out. We've also got the PokerAtlas tournament, the 250K. I hope that's the one. That's not the one. That's next week.
That's the big one.
Yeah, it's going on right now. 3 flights today. First one's going on now. Last one's at 9 o'clock. $250,000 guarantee. tracking towards an overlay right now. TC8 Social Austin. Day 2 tomorrow. Day 3 final table on this show Monday evening. And check that out. And then $500,000 guarantee, $600 main event next week.
Yep.
Mixon's got a good hands. Mixon has raised it up.
Yeah, don't forget tonight we have that turbo satellite. Starts at 9 o'clock.
That's not a satellite. That's just the proper day 1.
Oh, that's right. It's a day 1. But you can, that as a turbo, won't be here late. Some people like that. Very aggressive when that happens.
It's an exercise in winning your all-ins.
Yes, it is. And you'd probably be a few of them if you stick around. Pretty ugly hand for JD. I'm going to give that up under the gun. Hasn't played too many hands in the last 10 hands. Since we got probably 12 hands in with 4 players. Ace 3, way too many spades for Nick. He's gonna bet it though. Professor gives it up really fast, and when you see his hand, you know why. Mixon's got Ace 5, suited ace, pair of 7s.
Could defend.
Yeah, he could defend here. In the big blind, not too much more. And he's got the stack that supports it.
If Nick wants to continue on the flop, it is probably going to be for all of it.
Yeah, yeah. And Mixon, being a smart player, is thinking about that.
Stacks about just over 1 for Nick as we go heads up to the flop. 10-9-3, the flop of everyone's dreams. So Mixon's pair of 7s, the best high right now. No front door low available. See if Nick wants to put out a C-bet. No red cards in his hands. He checks back. This might give Mixon the green light as the 9 pairs. And Mixon actually has more 9s in his range than Nick.
Yeah.
Because
So
big
why
blinds,
do you say that?
big blinds will defend some random stuff. Button is probably not opening hands that have a 9 in them. And I think Mixon is going to pounce.
Yeah, this is where maybe that awareness that he has, that you have, and that I wouldn't have, that I've got these in my range a lot more, drives this decision.
And Nick has nothing here. He has a pair of 3s. Well, he's playing a pair of 5s. And he has a 3 for a trip draw that could be dead. Nick is just dead so often here.
Yeah.
I think this becomes a fold.
Yeah.
And it does.
Smart bet out of the big blind.
Preserving your tournament life does have some value because you never know what could pop off.
Yeah.
Imagine you quad over quad somebody.
Yeah.
Which apparently I was actually supposed to on Thursday. I'd opened, I got 1 caller, big blind folded. Flop is ace, ace, 10. I have 4 aces. And the turn to 10, I don't win any more money. It was actually, Nixon was my 1 caller. I don't win any more money, but then big blind says, hey, I folded 10s. Good fold.
I had one of those last night. I made a straight flush to the king.
Okay, you made number 2.
Yeah, but I wasn't there for it.
Oh.
I mean, it came runner. So
yeah, you never know. You're gonna back to a straight flush.
Yeah, I showed my cards when I folded them. King 10 of clubs to Angie to my right, and when that jack hit, she went, "Oh my gosh!" I said, "Yeah."
First straight flush I ever made was in a horse final table, and I was all in for my tournament life. And I backdoor steel wheel against the player who had proclaimed that he was free rolling me. He wasn't. I scooped him. I backdoored a steel wheel.
So you're telling me he lied at the poker table?
Or it was a misread. Who knows?
Yeah, well, you're
you never expect the backdoor steel wheel.
Yeah, I got knocked out last night because a player.
Look at this hand for Mixon.
You like this hand?
I love this hand. And the suits aren't perfect, but this is a great hand for the button.
Good lows.
Yeah, we got a really good low working.
Are you thinking about the chances with it playing 4 or 3 other players? Ace deuce is a lot less frequent.
Yeah, there are, like I said before, like you don't have to be as nutted as we get shorter handed. And also, there could always just be a deuce on the board and you end up with nut low anyway. The other thing is, like, if you get the bigger low cards, you're going to make 2 pairs. You're going to make the straights.
Right. Queens for Nick. Single suit.
And it's, like, not great lows. Like, this is a pretty marginal hand, actually. Like, he made it. So, and Mixon potted it, and he attacked the short stack. I love what Mixon did here.
Yeah.
Like, Nick's going to have to put half his stack in to see a flop so he can put the other stack in, the other half of the stack in, and then pray that maybe he gets half the pot.
Yeah, with 317 or before the hand 350, 360, he's got the ability to be a little bit of a positional bully here.
And if you get pushback from JD, you actually have a decent hand.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think fold is probably the move if I'm in Nick's seat here. Like there's not a lot of boards where I'm going to be thrilled to put my money in. Like imagine we get a queen and 2 low cards. How thrilled are you?
Yeah, mediocre.
Yeah, like okay, I have the high for now.
He's
going to put it in. He's going to put it in.
He just doesn't believe it.
And I expect Mixon to call.
Yeah, he's going to call.
He will call. So Nick's queens are ahead for the high right now. Mixon does have hearts. He's got a bunch of low cards.
Nick at risk here.
Let's get ourselves a run out.
Mixon's got a third of his chips in here. This would be a big win and vault him into the front if he does eliminate Nick here.
At least put him closer to JD, who has a pretty big lead.
Yeah, he's up at the 550 plus.
Here we go, and Jack 10, 8. So there's the set of queens. Heart draw for Mixon does not get there.
No low.
Queens full is going to double up here.
Yeah.
What was I saying about this being a marginal hand?
Well, a boat makes everything less marginal.
You did have to fade a decent amount, though. A heart or a king would have given it to Mixon.
Wow, so that's a complete turn of events there.
But Mixon's still in reasonable shape. It's Professor in the short stack now. Mixon still has $250,000. JD further ahead. JD probably going to have a little bit more liberty to push people around as he gets hands. Mixon and Nick won't really want to go broke before the Professor.
Yep. Still with 11 big blinds behind. Not in panic mode yet.
Not quite.
Not quite.
It does come around pretty quick, especially with the big blinds ante, but like we're not desperate to be all in pre.
Right. The ante is what really kind of puts it into that it's going to be soon mode.
Yeah, before the... I actually like that the big blind ante has become a thing in Omaha tournaments now. Before then, these final tables would just take forever.
Yeah.
Like there was very little incentive to raise pre and try and take it pre.
Yeah.
Mixon goes to limp mode this time, and JD gonna say no limpy. 35K, and Professor's got a good hand. Professor could 3-bet or he could call. Like I said, you could see a flop. This is a game where you can see a flop.
JD with the second diamonds and the first clubs, not clubs.
Mixon gets in there as well. He's got the hearts. 3 ways we go, 123 in the middle.
No ace deuce. Professor's got the best low with ace 3. Oh, wow.
All hearts. That's nut hearts for Mixon.
Wow.
Bad news is nobody's going to be able to offer him any money.
Yeah.
Professor doesn't like king queen.
No, he does not at all.
This is trash. Against 2 players, one of them's got hearts. In fact, there's a small chance that he just has a royal and we're dead.
Dead with ace 10? Yeah.
Yeah, or 10-9.
Yeah. And that kills Professor's hand. Now he didn't have a low. He's like, yeah.
Kings and threes for the Professor.
He can't hit anything at this point that helps.
Yeah.
I mean, he could hit a king or a queen. He just kings
or a
one
3.
Gone. He could hit a 3 too. That's true.
Mixon makes it 40. JD is going to make a show of it, but he's going to have to fold this. He just has a pair of kings. Yeah, so that's getting folded. Professor going to fold his 3 pair.
Another good win for Mixon, taking down 88,000 in profits. Going to put him back about where he was for the previous
before
hand.
that double up.
Yeah. Yeah, I got knocked out last night by a player that made a misclick raise to my 12K. Had to make it 24K. And I took it as a sign and I jammed it. She tanked and called me. First thing I said to her is, "You did not angle me, right?" When I saw her hand, I realized she did not. She actually had a good hand, but that was so unfortunate. I got to play better tonight, Lottie, if I'm going to get into this day 2.
Yeah.
Those misclicks are always polarizing in your mind. Out of position like that. That was on the button. Kings for JD. 8s with good diamonds. Good hearts for JD. Good diamonds for Nick. No lows that are worth talking about. 4, 8, and 7 deuce. Professor is going to get in here. We'll see his hand in a second. It's got to be better than these two. I mean, King's not bad four-handed. Professor with a lot of low cards and 2 bad suited combinations. The hearts are dead. We're going to go to a flop. Kings versus... Looks like the diamonds, which are out of this, are the only thing that could hit. And backdoor hearts. Nobody likes those aces.
Professor does have second nut low draw.
Yeah, and he can hit a wheel. Yeah, with any of his cards. Needs 4, actually. Makes a call of J.D. Kimson for 20. Professor calls. Mixon's probably going to give this up. This is just nothing he could play. Not too talkative a table. Everybody's got a mic on, but they're not saying much at this point. Oh, my gosh. Now
Aces full of
now
kings
the Kings
for JD.
have got to feel really good.
And Professor's hand is totally one way. He can only win the low. He cannot win the high. Professor moves
go
all
all
in for
in.
40, and
I don't see JD folding here ever.
yeah, we just call and say, please don't have quads.
No, check flop. He's going to say there's not an ace there.
Yeah.
And if this card comes above an 8, then Professor's out.
All right, Professor at risk. Professor needs a low.
Does
not get a low. Professor going to be out in 4th place. JD going to scoop. Aces full of kings, no low. And Professor going to be out in 3rd place.
So we're down to 3.
Or 4th place, rather. And so 1480 the payout for the Professor, 2140 for these remaining 3 players. 3210 up top. 3210 for second, 4810 up top.
Not that right there, obviously. But if he had more, he could probably get away, right? If he has 100, 105, something like that. Well, now I'm bad at this game, so.
And so we're on to 3-handed play.
That is how you win tournaments. You play games that you're bad at.
JD with the commanding chip lead.
Every game that I play. Sick. Nice mark.
And it's going to get slightly larger as he gets a walk. So with 41 entries, there's 1.23 million chips in play. JD with over half of those chips. Nick the shortest stack, but still has plenty of room to work with. Mixon not that far ahead of him. It's not really totally handcuffed. Mixon still gets to play hands. He's not going to be actively waiting out Nick. 88 deuce on this heads up flop. Nines, good for Mixon. Both have a low draw. Mix is slightly better. Second nut low draw for Nick. Check, check. Ten, not that helpful. Nick picks up a gutter that's no good. Mixon has a gutter that he doesn't need. Check, check. Mixon hits the gutter that he doesn't need. Straight to the queen. No low. And Nick with nothing at all. So Mixon's bet unlikely to get paid. He does not. Another one going Mixon's way.
Looks like JD's going to come out for 35. Pretty good hand for Nick. He's got the hearts and the diamonds. 6-4, not a particularly good low. But if a 3 or a deuce comes out, it will be a good low. Mixon does call with his clubs and his 5s. No low. And it hits his 5 and his king. Nut hearts for Nick. Good possibility. The ace-4 is good. 3 deuce is actually better. Check to Mixon. He's going to make a bet. Looks like the same bet, 35. Just 30. Second hearts for JD is going to get him to come along. Does have the king and the 3 deuce. Nick's thinking about his nut hearts and his ace-4. He's like he's
Nick
jamming
is going to just rip it.
Yeah. Like I got too much.
Too many outs.
Got drawn to the nuts.
And see if anybody actually wants to see the rest of the cards.
I think the second hearts are going to get JD in here heads up.
And he's got a pretty good low. Like he's got like close enough. That's what he's got. He's got close enough.
So Nick at risk wants to see a heart. Would not mind a 3 or deuce.
Here we go.
Gets
3
the
of
heart.
hearts,
Boy,
so
that
that's
was the
great for
perfect
Nick.
card. What a perfect card.
That's going to be scoopage for Nick. He's
Nice.
got the wheel and he's got the hearts.
Wow.
That is a scoop.
That is just the perfect card, the 3 of hearts there. Counterfeited the low that JD had, gave him the nuts. He was happy with that as he gets a slight smile on his face and doubles up.
And JD cut down to size. And now Mixon in third place. JD's lead a lot less commanding than it was.
Yep.
I don't blame him for making that call.
No.
It's unfortunate that the gin card came for Nick. Like that was the gin card. Like usually that chops. Like the hands that improve Nick end up chopping the pot, except for that card.
Yep. Yep. That was the perfect card.
Seems like a great guy, but
I know what you mean.
But hey, you got to win some all-ins. You got a luck box if you're going to win this tournament. Right, Nick?
Yeah. As he looks at suited king, single suited king, no lows. This is enough to call on the button. Nut diamonds and an ace three. That's going to be the only low.
That's a hand I could have raised as well.
Yeah, I agree.
I also don't mind winning without a flop, and Mixon gets a wrap.
Yeah, he
But
wraps
top
it up.
set for Nick.
No hearts for anybody.
Top two for JD.
Clubs are not in play.
Yeah, Mixon's got the low draw. The only respectable low draw at all. His 20K gets a flat from JD. Thinking JD smartly flatting. He's probably thinking he's getting free rolled a fair amount, and he's right. Six of clubs on the turn. Nobody turns a flush. Mixon picks up a set of sixes, and he picks up the 31 low.
Yeah, and he's got the straight right now.
And he does have the straight. Yeah,
he's got it all.
Not quite all of it because the
well, none of it's the nuts. That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the set of kings is feeling good. Wants to see a paired board.
Check through.
The board does not.
Ace on the end. Mixon with the 43 though, still a perfectly good low.
Yep.
And Mixon actually scooping right now as he does have the hind end of the straight, and it's actually good for once.
Imagine this checks all the way around. I say is the question, and it does.
It does check through. And the 43 is good both ways.
So that's going to be a scooper pooper for Mixon. Is going to bring him up a little bit. I think he'll still be in third.
Yeah, still third place, but he's close with Nick.
Yeah, tightens it up.
Nick about to get the big blind as well.
Our blinds still 6, 12, 12 with
They
Danny.
They are still 6, 12, 12.
Gonna roll over here in a second. Pretty soon, I guess. Another 5 minutes.
I was supposed to raise the flop.
I do think we need to get Mixon a better T-shirt.
What does it say?
Never mind what it says. Never mind what it says. Something that'll get me fired.
I wanted you to read it out. You didn't fall for it.
I'm not Ron Burgundy.
Yeah. You don't just read the teleprompter, huh?
Not always.
Do you do the vocal exercises before our broadcast?
I don't.
Oh my gosh. We got to have, I love a movie reference. Well, Mixon is hanging around and hanging around. Now on the button, the jacks. Not too good. Doesn't like those too much. No suits for those jacks. Kings versus tens with no lows. Well, 7
And
deuce.
71.
Yeah.
71 versus 72.
Yeah. Yep.
And hearts for JD. It's not nothing. Like, we could play this blind versus blind.
Yeah, and that's a pretty good flop for both.
And JD has the low draw right now. The 71 is the live low draw. Check, check. 6 of hearts.
Kings are still good for the high.
Check, check. 4 of
71.
hearts. So this will chop. Kings for Nick. 71 for JD. And I see the floor with a rack, and I see the clock in the background. So the players hit a 10-minute break, which we're actually going to just edit past. You'll see the yellow chips have magically vanished.
Yes.
So those yellow 1K chips were raced off on this last break. So we have the white 25K chips and the red 5,000 chips and blinds of 10,000, 15,000, 15,000 as we come back three-handed. Our Big O final table, TCH Social Austin PokerAtlas Tour. William White, the New York Net, Uncle T alongside me on TCH Live. If you're enjoying this, be sure hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're on at least 5 nights a week. And I believe we're going to have a Dallas final table tonight, actually, on this very channel. Shout out to the Dallas crew. And Nick coming out of break with a pretty good hand in the big blinds, an ace, a deuce, a couple of suits, What more could we want?
Not much. Maybe you have that 9 be a 3, and he's going to take it down with a bet. As Lottie mentioned, we're at 15-15. Big blind ante. So if you're calculating how many antes in the stacks, go from there. 20 big blinds for Mixon at this point. He's the short stack, but everybody's pretty tight. Nobody's dominating. They've been playing ping pong with the chips the last few hands as we do hand 47. Trip nines for Nick in his hand. Nothing you ever want to see. And the button's going to give it up, rightfully so.
Damn, Dirty, you good?
Sevens with nut hearts.
That looked rough, whatever
And
happened
ace
there.
deuce for JD. Best hand of the two. And he's going to bet it. Raised to 45,000. He's going to get a fold. Takes it down very quickly. We're on to 48. The JJ hand.
48, Jimmy Johnson.
Did like him a lot better than Jeff.
Probably not, though.
I disagree.
If it was 10K or 10K and 20K, I would definitely.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of either one of them, to tell you the truth.
Right?
Although Rick Hendrick, I'm sure, loved them both.
I mean, the 48's run, I think, is why they ruined the playoffs even more than they already ruined it by having them.
They did. That domination.
God forbid somebody dominates.
Yeah, being an Earnhardt fan all those years, I didn't mind when he dominated. I almost wore my Earnhardt shirt in today. My Earnhardt baseball shirt, which I got at the Texas Motor Speedway 25 years ago.
You look like you got hurt.
Family pot here.
Kings and threes, single suited for Mixon.
Pair of aces for Nick on this flop. Nobody has a heart draw. The dry king of hearts for Mixon could be relevant. The 43 draw also relevant for Mixon. That is a gut shot to a wheel.
Yep.
That's a pretty good low draw. Nick's 25K. Gonna get the call from Mixon. Nick with aces up. Seven of spades gives them both a spade draw. Mixon's is better.
Open ender now for Nick.
Also gives Mixon the 43 low, which is the best low.
Actually drawing to the straight flush with the 8 of spades.
The magic 8 of spades.
Yeah.
Shout out Steam
An
Zola.
8 from space. So you see Mixon's 11 outs up at the top.
Yeah, his low is actually good. Those outs are to the high.
Yep.
And it's a 50K and a call. The magic 8 of spades.
He nailed it.
So that's a straight flush for Nick for the high. Mixing with the king high spades, which are no good, but the 43 will be good for the low.
Not much of a bet, do you think, that could get him off of that 43 with the ace and the 5 out there?
I think this is a bet and a call. Mixon has the king high spades.
Yeah.
Like he's not thinking he's got a 9-6 on the other side.
Yeah.
We're not thinking about that.
No.
It's like, please don't have nut spades. Nick is going to go about half pot. He's going to go 100K.
Which is a big chunk of Mixon's.
Yeah, we can't fold.
No, he can't. Oh, it's so disappointing.
And 34. Oh my God.
He was really hoping his 6-5, or I guess he didn't have a low because the 5 counterfeited it, but yeah, he was really hoping that was good. Only in a split pot game do you make a straight flush and not get paid.
Choppity chop.
Stacks stay the same in ratio. Mixing still with those 20 big blinds. As we're down to 3 players. Coming up on hour 2. So, give me a Super Bowl prediction.
Detroit and Buffalo.
I like it. That was mine exactly. Just thought Buffalo played really well the other night. Love that coach. Gosh, I wish we could have hired that coach.
I think they're going to be playing each other in a couple weeks here.
Yeah, they are. Most likely. Green Bay showed a lot of stick-to-itiveness there.
And I think Detroit's coach has a serious gambling problem.
Yeah, that was Jared Goff did not get enough credit for not making that a really ugly play.
Okay, so let's see our flop here. Queen, Jack 5. So Nick with a pair of aces and the
queen.
open ender into Queen. JD has a Jack and
No hearts.
some stuff.
Yeah, some stuff. It's really a very ugly hand for JD to call with on the button.
He was the aggressor. He was,
Yeah.
and he was able to push Nick off of that hand. Like Nick not wanting to commit there. Like I'm actually pretty surprised that Nick didn't commit there. He had top pair and he had an overpair. It's not like we got a real low board going on.
Yeah.
I'm not like either the hand got misread or I'm really not sure what Nick was afraid of there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like that's my flop. If I have ace, ace, queen, and not a great low, like that's actually the flop I want.
Yeah. What's better than that? That's what I'm thinking. An ace. That's
Like a
it.
set of aces, and then JD makes a low and we chop.
Yeah.
The old 86 low, the emergency. Emergency low. Graphics are running slightly behind. I'm sure that'll get fixed in a second. I think we have a limp from Nixon.
As we go to the flop.
Ace 8 deuce. That's a 54 low for JD, 65 for Mixon.
No hearts for either player.
Backdoor spades for Mixon. Pair of nines, the best high right now.
Does get a
Check,
spade.
check. And picks up a 6 as well. Check, check.
And gets
King on the end. So
King 6 is good.
yes, but the 54 going to be the better low for JD.
Yeah. Check, check. He's
No,
gonna be
not
a little
check,
aggressive.
check.
20,000.
JD going to go for the old small bet there. 25. Half pot-ish. See if Mixon actually wants to call with a very weak low. And it's a high that's not that great. Like King 6, yes, that's 2 pair, but aces up is just so easy to have.
Yeah.
And like you have a wide 5 for low. That's not good.
Yeah.
So when we say a live 5, so you're effectively playing 4 of the cards that are on the board and then the 5 in your hand. You have to play 2 cards in your hand. Like you've matched one of the cards on the board though.
Yeah.
So he's playing an 86 low that has a 5 in it, and it's like one of the worst lows possible, and is beaten by a lot of other lows.
Yeah, in that hand with Mixon before, Nick actually didn't chop for some reason. I don't know if we didn't have. I noticed all the chips went to Mixon, and you see Nick now is down to 9 big blinds.
Now Nick actually lost the pot before. You didn't see that?
Well, maybe I didn't.
He lost the one with JD before.
I was still reviewing that previous hand of that in my head, and it's like I didn't see any chips go to Nick, so I was a little confused. Kings and aces. Well, there you go. Actually, no suits for the kings. Double suited for the aces.
Set over set.
Oh, wow.
And JD with the 64 low draw, the only low draw.
Yeah.
This might just be the end of Nick.
Yeah, unfortunately. He got too much here not to jam. He's going to see the bad news.
Nick is drawing super thin.
Just a cooler flop.
He's drawing to the case king or a backdoor. He could backdoor a straight or a flush. And we'll go to the run out. Spade draw, no spades.
Yeah.
Aces full of 6s, or not aces full of 6s. 2 sets for JD. He has 2 sets.
Yeah, got set on the turn.
And
so we're going to be down to heads up. Nick goes out in 3rd place. We'll show you the money list here so you can see where we're at.
Yeah, 2140 for Nick.
Not
Both of
bad,
these players
not
lock
bad.
up 3210, and they're playing for $4,810 up top. So Heads up for $1,600.
Yep.
And that beautiful trophy that's sitting next to Mixon.
And Nick, after his buy-in, walks away with $1,600, a little bit over that for himself, $1,740. Not a bad night. Played really well.
Hey, Dirty Dan in the background.
Dirty Dan.
Another fixture of the Austin poker scene.
Funniest laugh you'll ever sit at the table with.
So I think right now Mixon currently a slight dog. JD a 2-1 chip lead. Or not quite, 3-2 chip lead.
Yeah, 3-2.
I think if you're Mixon, the move is the trophy's right next to you. Just grab it and you run out the door. I think that's the move. I think that's the move.
Hope that JD is not quicker than you are.
Yeah. What do you think in the chat? Dan taking some footage for the Insta, probably. They all know each other. These guys all play together a lot. And Wimp's pot for our first hand of heads up. This could go a bit. Our short stack still has over 30 bigs.
No 5, no low. No pairs in anybody. Oh, we do have 8s. 8s and 5s is good for mixing.
JD with the uncounterfeitable nut low draw.
Yep. Ace is a good card for that draw.
30K. Mixon makes the call.
Oh, and he gets
That's
the
the
straight.
wheel.
4 deuces the straight and the nut low. Yeah, he's not going to get a call here. He's going to make looks like a 75, 80K bet.
Yeah, Mixon with just a busted heart draw and a pair of 8s. And a really lousy low. Does fold. He does not like the 74. I don't like the 74 either.
No, nobody likes the 74. So a little bigger chip lead. Still about 3-2, a little bit over that. 3 to 1.75.
Good luck to you guys.
Jonathan, one of our great floors, running this tournament in the background. Love playing cards with that guy. So much fun.
So who you got in this match?
You know, I just always will take the chip leader at this point. And honestly, JD seems to have the slightly more aggressive playing style. Of course, when you're chip leader throughout the final table, that helps. Pretty good hand for Mixon.
Does raise it up.
Doesn't have the suited ace.
Takes it.
Takes it down. We roll on to the Randy White hand.
Yeah, personally, I mean, like, given the choice of attire by both players, like, can we get Nick back in here?
Yeah. I'm gonna let that. I don't want to comment on other people's playing style.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can.
You know, you with your Porsche and race car T-shirts, and me with my hoodies. You know, we got no cause to throw dirt. You like this hand for Mixon? Heads up.
I like this hands a lot. Even if I'm not heads up, I really like this hands.
Period. Yep. And he's gonna raise it. And boy, the 8s have just keep showing up. 62 is a little hard to play.
Yeah, we don't really like 8s in this game.
But he's not giving it up yet.
Heads up we go. Oh, everything's going to be heads up now.
Yep.
And that's a lot of spades, and Mixon has spades, so that's good for him. The 41, also the better low. Mixon is really enjoying this flop.
He's not going to get called.
60K. JD with a 62 and a useless straight draw. Lets it go. Mixon going to chip away at him a little bit further.
You say these guys play a lot together, huh?
Yeah,
Know
they
each
are
other
both
pretty well.
fixtures of the Austin tournament scene. So, yeah.
So what is your stance as the short stack here? Heads up.
Win hands.
Win
That's
hands.
all there is to it. It's like Like, we're not waiting anybody else out at this point.
So it's
We're,
not a whole chapter of a book. It's just the title, Win Hands.
yeah, this is the part where we've got to win hands.
A little slow on the cards. We're still looking at the previous. So we'll catch up here. We're on to the 55th hand. Michael Waltrip.
Cheater. Stick a little jet fuel in there.
Yeah, if you're
Gonna itch your
not
arm?
cheating, you're not trying. NASCAR.
They both
Unlike
have
poker.
the ace four. And nobody with the diamond draw. Ace nine deuce.
No diamonds.
So JD with the gutter and the better low draw.
Yep, could hit a 3 here would be a bingo card. And he waves his hand over his chips and Mixon folds. So you kind of anticipate at this point we're going to play flop poker. That's about it.
We're going to see a lot of flops.
Yeah, and not much past that.
I think we're still deep enough that we can get past the flop. Like, they both need to have something. Mixon didn't really have much there. He just had one pair and a weak low draw.
Yeah.
So that's not enough to continue. We're going to need both players to have some thought of scoopability.
Yeah. Can't even call for anybody with a
walk.
good hand.
JD had a really good hand.
Yeah, he's bemoaning losing that hand. You can go through a period with this game like any game where you kind of card dead. It's harder in a 5-card game like this to go through an extended period. But you can. We haven't seen that from anybody yet. Early on, we saw Rob, Tasty, and others kind of go through a slow period. Professor went a long time without really getting cards at the beginning. Ace, King with nut diamonds and a 6-5 for JD. He's probably going to bet that. No, he just flats. Not a great hand for, although he does have a club draw. And
You could raise that. Like
Yeah,
with JD could raise that. And he has diamonds and 61 low draw.
Yeah, 86 low for A6, I should say.
45K gets it done. Yeah.
61. Yeah. Every time you say that, I'm like, what? The ace is low.
That's right. The ace is low. Just wait until you're calling the triple draw. You're going to have a hard time
my
keeping
gosh.
track of what's low and what's high.
And translating from deuce to 7 to ace to 5.
Yeah,
my
it's
brain
important to
is
know
gonna
which
bleed.
game you're playing.
Yes, it's got. I'm going to have Post-it notes all over the screen. There'll be a lot of Kyle and I correcting each other. We're going to miss you that night.
Yeah, I wish I was there for that one.
We need to be like the live stream statistician keeping us straight.
Heart draw for Mixon, who has queens. He's got a 9. JD with the only low draw, not a great one, a 75.
But he does take the
Let's it
aggressive.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mixon takes that one.
Looks like Mixon just saw what he needed to see to make a shot at it with the hearts.
Thank you.
So, folks, again, we're going to remind you we got three lead-ins for tomorrow's day 2 of our 250K. Come on out. Join up with one of those flights. 2:30, 6 o'clock, and then at 9 o'clock, we have a turbo for the 250K, which will be on the live stream Monday night. My partner, Kyle the Whammo, will be with me, Uncle T. Lottie will be on the road. You leaving Monday?
Yeah, Monday night.
Monday night?
Unless they make that final table. And we got a limp pot here. And JD going to do the betting and taking it from Mixon.
Can't call with trips in your hand.
Now, in case you didn't have enough reasons to come here today with that tournament, We do have the watch party for the big Georgia-Texas game. $1 beer, $2 jellyfish specials, and football and poker, and check all that out here, TCH Social.
Yep. As we showed, JD is got
2 to 1.
1 over Mixon. They played a lot of back and forth. Settling into a heads up. JD's got the king suited to the 6, no low. A gorgeous middle wrap for Mixon. He does get open-ended.
And for once, the middle wrap actually connects with the board in a way that can scoop.
Yeah.
Not often that you see this.
Yeah, 2 pair for.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. 2 pair for JD. It's not like he's got nothing, and now clubs for JD. And Mixon actually the only one with the low draw here.
A3, not a great one.
And JD's bet gonna get Mixon off the hands.
Once again, we're in 10, 15, 15. Big blinds. Neither one of them short on the big blind number, so we're not going to talk about that too much. But we should be ramping up pretty soon, about 5 to 8 minutes. Going up to, what is it going to be?
Probably 10-20.
10, 20?
But let's worry about that later.
Yeah, let's talk about that when it happens. Sufficient thereof is the evil of that day.
Raise from JD Mixon. Not a great hand. He's got the worst low ever. Does have 2 suits on the high side, so he'll take a flop. Gonna hope for some big cards, diamonds, spades. Gets diamonds. He doesn't really get the low cards. Little does he know he has the only low draw with the 87.
All JD's got is
And the
queen.
pair of jacks also the best high right now. And JD going to pot it, though, and put Mixon to the test, and he's going to have to fold.
And once again, the more aggressive player takes down the pot.
That's the thing. Like, if JD can just keep saying pot and getting away with it,
He will.
then he can open a lot of hands. Like, if Mixon's going to not defend a lot,
It takes
Like it-
his lead to 3 to 1.
like, that is where if I mix and I consider taking a stand with that hand. And not that we love the low draw.
Seems like I'm playing.
Like, the high's not even the best high ever, but at the same time, how often does JD have more than a low draw there?
Yeah.
This is a hand that could just fold. Does choose the limp. It's only 5K more. JD with a free look, and JD with a jack, and there's some checking, and JD has another jack,
Trips.
and this probably just checks.
Yeah. Terrible flop. Terrible flop for the lower hand. It's not what he wanted to see.
Yeah, Mixon's hand is one where I wish I was playing a different game.
Yeah. Now do you start thinking if you're mixing, okay, I have to double up just to believe it.
It's not that I'm desperate to pull up, to pull even. It's not desperate. I'm desperate to double up. Like I need to win some pots.
So chip
Like I
away.
need to not get pushed around so much. Like I probably need to defend a little bit more, or even push back.
Yeah.
Like we know the situation. Like, the goal here is to win all the chips.
Yeah. 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 JD wakes up with a great hand. Not
Aces and threes
yeah,
and
single
one
suited.
suit, one good suit, one suit that's good enough.
Heads up, this is a great hand,
Yeah.
though. Just not much better.
And he
Nothing
raises
but
and takes it.
Yeah.
I'm getting aces every hand, and I'm getting like 10, 8, 5, 4, 2.
So the chapter of your book is starting to come into play here. Win
Yeah.
hands.
Yeah, you
That's
have
what
to
JD's
win.
doing right now.
It'd be really easy for you to beat me.
Yeah, I think I'd pick an opportunity to let JD be aggressive and then fight aggression with aggression.
I might try it.
Yeah, the problem is our stack's getting too short to actually be able to
Yeah.
raise and have fold equity.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like a couple hands ago, Mixon still had fold equity if he wanted to push back.
Yeah.
He doesn't have as much of that now. And he's going to open this one up.
Aces,
And he's going to
good.
run into aces.
Not suited, but he's still got a good queen four. That's a pretty good suit.
And he's got, ace four is good.
Ace four
Like
is
if
really
I'm
good.
JD, I probably just rip this. And if we want to see, if Mixon wants to see 5 cards, I want to see 5 cards.
Yeah, this is just really, really a savage
I think he said pot.
run of luck here.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, Mixon is immediately going to regret that decision to raise. No, he's going to call. He's going to get in.
Oh, he needs some luck here.
Ace
Big
Jack
time
10
luck.
8 8 from Mixon. He's going to need a lot of help to stay alive against the Ace Ace Queen Jack 4.
I mean, he needs an
JD.
8, doesn't he?
Yeah, here we go.
Where's 4, 5, 6?
Yeah, ace jack.
4, 5, 6? Middle low.
10 9 4. That's helpful for
Oh, he
Mixon.
got
There's
the
the
straight.
queen. There is the straight.
Jack 8 is going to be good. Wow.
No whoa. Mixon
No
doubles
whoa.
up.
Better guy.
Wow.
We got a ball game on our hands.
Wow.
Aces
Of
again.
all the hands, he was so behind pre-flop. Wow.
Whoever said middle cards were bad in this game.
Yeah, I don't
We were
know.
trying to give it away.
Nobody we know.
Only hand I've seen.
Well, you got to get lucky. Short stack like that. And now we pull back into just a 15% lead, 20% lead. Not much. Okay, now you can apply some aggression back to the aggressor.
It's actually
Yeah,
like-
now we have fold equity.
Yeah, huge amount. So that turns the table. We're going to play a little bit more, folks. Could have been over on hand 65 or hand 64. But instead, we're going to play a little bit longer.
It's on.
After having some really bad luck with mediocre hands facing aces, Mixon comes charging back with a straight.
Yeah, aces are a favorite when they get in this game, but it's never like an 80-20 like you see in Hold'em.
Yeah.
And Mixon with some more of those middle cards against JD as we go heads up. JD with kings and sevens.
Yeah, 3 pair.
Not quite. I think that board misread. Either way, his bet gets the job done.
Yeah. Only the sevens for Mixon, which are no good with his. He's got 10s, but 3 pair flopped for JD, and he also positioned. So again, heads up, in case you didn't know, I'll state the obvious. The button is the small blind. That's the option. You like playing heads up in a tournament?
Well, yeah, that means there's 2 players left. So
No, I mean, do you like the style of the game?
it's not something I get to do a whole lot.
No, none of us do.
Like
but
I don't try to
I
go in my
freaking
way to
love
do it, but flush draw for Mixon.
That's low for AD with 2-3. Needs a couple of more cards to make that real.
His high is awful.
Yeah.
Mixon probably takes that with a bet. The clubs come in. And JD has the nut low draw, but he has no high. If he's calling, it's to try and win half the pot, which is not advisable. And he lets it go.
Smart. He's like,
Yeah, we're not trying to win half the pot. We're trying to win all the pot.
no, he knows.
Maybe win half the pot. He might not even win half the pot.
Yeah. Yeah.
The low could miss. He could get quartered.
Yeah. It's something you learn very quickly in PLO. Don't call the
When you
chop
both lose and then give the trophy to charity, yeah, I agree.
unless
We'd
you've
do
got it
that.
wrapped up.
Both of us would do that for sure.
That's what I always say about bomb pots. I mean, it's like I'm only happy when I fold or when I got quads, and not always with quads.
That's why you think. I think he thought I was serious.
A couple of good suit for JD, but he's got no low. Jacks are going to call with hearts.
I think I see a set of jacks,
Oh,
but
the low diamonds are good
diamonds
right
for
now.
both players.
Yeah, and a set of jacks mixing really
But
crushing.
he has had aces like 10 hands.
Well, JD has the
Oh,
better
he
diamonds.
does.
Mixon has the set,
That's
though,
the
which
ones
is a
that
boat
actually
draw.
get it in with them, I guess.
And Mixon has the only low possibility, which goes away on this 3 of clubs turn. Mixon can't make a low anymore. JD with the second nuts.
Can you give up these jacks?
So
Give
90,
up top set if he bets hard?
95K. So we have we also have diamonds, so we block a few of the flushes. I'm going to pray that the board pairs. So the key thing is if the board pairs, there's no low. If the board doesn't pair, then we maybe have a tough
And
call,
it
but
does.
the
three
board
comes.
pairs. Jacks full of threes, full of jacks, mixing
And
with
he
a lot of
checks
boats.
it. Oh, why did he
He's
check
trying
it?
because he wants JD to bet again. That's why.
Yeah, I guess he's been aggressive enough. I think just about
I thought he was going to
all the hands that JD has there, the 3, means he's not going to bet it.
Well,
His
unless
diamonds
it's
go away,
we could be set over set.
could be.
Well, if I say I lead, you know what you're saying? You're saying, "Hey, JD, I've got a boat." That's what you're doing, and you don't want to do that.
Or repping a boat.
Yeah, I don't think that leading gets you anything here.
And like you said, these players know each other so well because
Yeah.
they play a lot. They're probably a little more card up,
folded plenty of hands pre-flop, I promise.
card face up than most are at this point.
Now, I'm trying to get JD to bet, and I'm praying that it's set over set at that point. If it's set over set, you win the tournament.
Yeah, yeah,
Didn't see that one coming, did you?
yeah. You're just praying you get a chance to check raise.
Yeah.
Ace for Mixon, and he's got.
They both have low draws that are pretty good.
Yep, both are drawing to the wheel.
60K for Mixon. JD, however, just has the low draw, so
Yep.
he may not hang around.
Well, he's thinking to himself, I got 4 or 5. I can hit a deuce. I can hit a 6.
He's going to call.
Oh,
The ace pairs on the turn, so Mixon now with trip aces. And nobody with a JD with a club draw. Check, check. 3 on the end, so no low comes in. Mixon with the trip aces has the best hands.
yeah, just a
JD
terrible
left
run
with
out.
nothing.
Any hope Mixon had just went out the window.
Well, there's some hope. JD could bluff.
Is that a hope or a prayer?
Well, it happens. It's a reality. 50K the bet from JD that he will never see again. JD with jack high.
He's got
Mixon probably
yes.
raises here. No, he just calls. And scoops.
Just in case.
Like
Mix had the
somehow have
case.
like a slow played ace king.
Yeah, just in case JD had the case. Maybe ace king.
So Mixon takes this one.
That ace king's the real thing. I got it all in the other night. Fours flopped a boat. 4
And now-
king, and ace king called me and got the ace on the turn.
And now all of a sudden Mixon the 2-1 chip leader.
Yeah.
This is going Mixon's way.
It is. He's having a good run here. And
Now can
JD's
JD
aggression
dig out? Like JD hasn't had to play from behind tonight. This is the first time he's going to have to play from
the
behind.
get-go. He's been the chip leader.
So if he wins, it won't quite be a wire-to-wire win. Let us know your thoughts in the chat as we play hand number 69.
Yeah,
JD
who
with
do
a
you
nice
call it,
hand.
folks? Who do you think is going to take this down?
JD
Likes his ace deuce.
raised and took it instantly.
As we're just clipping through the hands here, JD just racking them out. Again, we're at 10, 20, 20. Blind's not really a factor here. We're not thinking about anything other than playing as best heads up as we can, maximizing. Mixing in unfamiliar territory, having twice the chips that JD has for the first time.
Gonna give the walk. This is a lot of diamonds and a lot of middle cards. I don't blame him for giving the walk. No need to get tangled up with a hand. Like there's not even a lot of runouts where you're going to want to play a
Yeah,
big
it's
pot.
like rule number 1 in heads up. Don't give the short stack free chips.
Are they in the money?
I love playing heads up. I've done it a number of times, especially at the old building where our tournaments were a little smaller. Freaking enjoy it. Just such a different kind of game. Kenny Rogers, KR, that was on the table earlier, and I played a really long heads up battle, PLO. So much fun. Didn't care who won. I was just having a blast.
JD returning the favor with the walk. Lines are at 10, 20, 20.
So, what are you going to play on your travels?
I'm going to play a mixed triple draw over at Wynn and WPT Prime. And I'll try and satellite into their
What is the
10K.
WPT Prime?
That's an 1100 multi-day tournament.
Hold 'em.
Yeah, hold them.
And we know our friend Sam is going to be up there too.
I know there's some PLO on the schedule. I'm sure she'll be out on the PLO streets mixing, raising it up. JD deciding whether he wants to defend this hand that's going to make a lot of second best stuff. He decides the answer is no.
Well, folks, thanks for joining us. I've got the New York Knit, Will Lottie, with me. This is Uncle T. We're here at TCH Social in Austin for the Big O final table heads up. There's a lot of middle cards. He is going to just call it off. Mixon's hand is no better.
That's a flopped flush for JD.
Not a great one. Mixon does have the nut low so far. That's a 7 on the turn. We flipped the cards a little bit.
Yeah, so Mixon has the better low draw, but still not a good one. It's a 53. Not quite the nuts. JD calling his flush, not the nuts, but good enough. He also has 2 pair for backup, which will make
Low
it both
does not get
sometimes.
there as the jack shows up.
Yeah, so
Diamonds are good.
yeah, diamonds are good, and there's no low. Mixon has to decide whether to bluff. He decides not to. Leaves the white flag.
Yeah. Doesn't want to get the opportunity of a check raise.
If it were an ace of diamonds in Mixon's hand instead of the queen of diamonds, I wonder if he does decide to go for the bluff.
Yeah.
Blocking the nuts. Blocking the second nuts heads up is not the worst thing.
Yeah, that was that hand I had in the PLO live stream a month ago with Stan. I mean, having the ace of clubs in my hand. Now, if I'd known she had the second nuts, I would not have bluffed at it. But I did get her off the hand just because she wasn't used to me trying to bluff in a PLO hand. And I also had position, which helped a lot. Her checking to me made it much easier to jam that hand. So it's a thought. Pretty good hand for Mixon heads up. Ace 3, the diamonds. And he's going to raise it up.
We already had one. Ace jack versus ace jack.
Call from a better. I don't know. Second. Yeah. It's
Nothing's
mostly
better
Mixon's
about that
good.
hand.
No, there's nothing good about it.
Mixon with the nut low draw, and they both have a hard draw. JD's the better one, so that's better. JD also has 2 pair, so I think JD's going to be feeling pretty good about that high. His low draw, not so great, just looking at a live 4 potentially.
Mixon also feels good about the hearts, although not as
Mixon
good.
feels very scoopable.
Yeah.
JD calling. Here we go to the turn. 270 in the middle. JD with 345 behind.
4 of hearts would be spicy. 7 of
Seven
hearts.
of hearts. They both have flushes, and they both have lows. Mixon going to make the bet here, 270, which is full pot.
He loves he's got a high and low. Yeah.
JD has a little bit more than that behind. JD with the jack high hearts and the life 4 for low. Mixon with the 31 low. JD has the high side of it on lock with his jack high hearts. Mixon can't improve to anything that beats that.
Well, he's going to shove it in.
He's going to get in, and that's a call. And this is going to chop.
Actually, a boat, ace 3 for Mixon at the end. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm reading the wrong board. Yeah, inconsequential king, they're going to chop that. Yeah, the ace 3 was never going to fold there. So, a little surprised the jack felt good enough to shove. But it worked.
Yeah. Well, the question for JD, like once he's facing the bet, is like are we calling off or not? Because like it's gonna, like if he calls, he's left with crumbs behind, and like nothing's gonna change on the river except like maybe the board pairs.
Yeah.
I think you're going to 3 or something.
Dealer change there.
Yeah. We get my favorite dealer in the box. And a bandana. Great dealer. Always fun at the table. Great interaction with the players. And extremely professional in her dealing.
2 3s in my hand.
But I would have forgotten, so thank you.
10 high hearts.
Beautiful. I love those magic buttons. All right. Good luck, guys.
Had an interesting hand the other night where I actually got mad at a player for slow rolling by asking with the nuts, with the obvious nuts. King, queen, board comes out, king, king, queen. Gets to the end, player goes all in, he asks for a count. When he rolled his hands over, I started chewing on him. Anna had called the floor because we got a little heated. Afterwards, I went to apologize to her. She goes, "No, I hated calling the floor because I love the fact you held that guy's feet to the fire for having the nuts and asking for a count." She's just, I just love her. She did the right thing calling the floor because we were getting heated, but she also knew that I had a point.
Yeah, I tend to let those things kind of go. Dan, good to see you in the chat. How's the series been? It's been great.
It has.
We've got the $250,000 guarantee going on today. The last day one's happening today. We've had some fun events of all kinds of poker. We've had a PLO already. We're on the Big O final table right now. There's a horse leader next week. There's triple draw next week.
Yep, on Wednesday.
So
I think horse is on Thursday.
Or Tuesday.
Well, PLO's on one day.
I think horse is Tuesday. That's my guess.
Yeah, horse is Tuesday, maybe. Yeah.
And yeah, we're heads up in this Big O final table from Thursday night. And lots of good times being had out here.
Yeah.
Hope things are good with you as well. Ace 10-9, Mixon with the 10, JD with the better pair. He has jacks. Check, check. Deuce is going to give both players a gutter to the wheel and a pretty good looking low draw.
Oh, you're right. I have not been calling the action. I felt like something was wrong here. I swear to God.
25 from JD, call from Mixon.
Oh, wow.
3 on the end. That's going to be a wheel for JD. And Mixon ends up with the 74 low. So I think Mixon also ends up with 2 pair. See if he does anything about this or if he just checks it back. His hand is not terrible. It's like a middle 2 pair and a middling low. It's JD betting. JD betting 100. So Mixon in the blender. I'm a lot less excited facing a bet.
Yeah. He calls this is going to be a real flip chip for the chips.
JD would scoop its showdown with his
He
wheel.
does call. Wow.
Mixon puts the call in. JD going to show the 5-4,
Wow.
the high and the low.
Yeah, that really flips the chip story. So now we are dead stinking even.
Yeah.
Pretty like call.
It's been back and forth for the last hour.
All these hours of poker just to end up at this spot.
That was a friend day last weekend.
As we
Dan-
hit 2 hours and 30 minutes into the final table, these two are pounding away. Trying to get that big trophy in the middle.
Have a good trip out here, Dan. I'll see you towards the end of the week, probably. I'm actually heading out to win Monday night, and I'll come back Friday unless I'm having a really, really good trip.
Yeah, that's what you
Like
keep
if I
saying.
get into the 10K, then I'll be out there a bit longer, or if I win one of those golden passport thingies, Willy Wonka style.
Well, keep us posted. We'll
Yeah, follow me.
we'll tell everybody how you're doing. We're broadcasting Monday and Wednesday night.
Follow me at Lottie William on Twitter and Instagram at
Lottie William.
LAHTI William, and see what I'm up to. JD up to a diamond draw. They both have the 71 draw. So JD with a pretty commanding lead here. Mixon does have the open ender. He has the wrap, actually. But his low is not great. And we're bombing it in.
Oh, wow.
Probably bad, but
This
It's
could
all
be for
in,
all the
folks.
marbles here. So Mixon is ahead right now with a pair of jacks.
I got a 9 though.
We've got a lot of outs. 4 of hearts is going to make the straight for JD. 8 of spades is going to make the better straight for Mixon.
Wow. Comes from behind, get the 97 for the better straight.
And the low comes in, so it's actually going to be a quarter.
Yep. So he's going to get.
Yeah,
Nixon's
JD's going to get half the
3/4.
stack.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah, JD's losing half the stack. They both have 71 low.
Wow. That's hand of the night, even though it's a chop, folks, because of the 3/4.
So he's getting
Really
3/4.
Crazy. After seeing the bad news on the previous hand to pull him even, Mixon comes from behind to take half the stack away from JD.
I'll make sure that
As Anna sorts the money out.
I'll let you learn.
Now they're going to count the chips. Make sure we have those numbers right. And then
Got
Half of-
JD talking to himself.
half of JD's chips are going to go Mixon's way. JD was feeling pretty good about that high.
He did.
I mean, they both had to know that the low kind of sucks.
Fair, I was
That was just a really horrible card. At the
That's a
end.
dirty river to make
It
the
was
bigger
a-
straight.
Yeah, and we haven't had a lot of dirty rivers tonight. And Mixon's been the benefit of a couple. So you could see that totally flips from an even stack to a 3-1 stack for Mixon, almost.
Extra chip does go to the high.
That's what
And so when you have a chop pot, first of all, in the tournament, you chop it all the way down to the lowest denomination in play, which is the red 5K chip. They're just clarifying that. So when you're splitting the high and the low, if there's an odd chip, it goes to the high hands. And then if you find yourself chopping one side or the other, like the high or the low, then the odd chip in that pot goes to position, like worst position, like it doesn't hold him. And they are 2 separate pots. And it is possible for somebody to end up with the extra chip both times.
So what did you say?
Wow, I did not know that.
It's like you chop the high and the low, and the extra chip is in the high. Well, that's one pot.
I'm overthinking.
And then you chop the low, and it's like maybe you end up with an extra chip. It's like whatever it is, it is.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it just because this is being.
Like you don't try to balance that out.
I never knew that. Like, honestly, I don't remember seeing it before. And if I did, it was so subtle by the dealer, I didn't pick up on that extra chip
Yeah.
for both.
It happens more often if you find yourself playing 08.
Yeah. Makes
I
sense.
should never be folding, but
And it's a walk for JD. And we get on to the next hand. Mixon about a 3-to-1 chip leader here. Difference between first and second is $1,600. 48.10 up top, 32.10 for second place. Of course, the winner gets that beautiful trophy we've got sitting in seat 5.
Think about it all the time.
Not a bad ace to 5 hands. That's a deuce to 7 hand that gets your heart broken 3 times. It's a good hand in this game, though.
Yes, it is.
Ace 7, 5, 3, 2,
that's not a good
and
hand. Mixon seems to keep running into these streaks where he gets these middle cards with no low,
yeah.
but he's going to make a call. All he needs is a 10.
Jack's not the worst thing either.
No.
And 2 high cards, which is good when you can't make a low. Mixon does have the straight draw, which has immediately arrived.
Now he's open.
10-9. And backdoor
9-10.
hearts.
He's got the straight already.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
turned this straight.
Yeah.
And Mixon going to go for some value that doesn't exist because JD has nothing. Yeah, shout out to Josh, our new tournament director. You saw him on screen a bit before. Tournament director, TCH Social Austin.
Yeah, great guy. He actually came to me the night we were going to do this and said, well, what do you think? Should we wait till we get down to 5 at the payout places to do the final table? And I said, no, let's sweat.
Yeah, make it 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 6. Yeah, I guess we take a 6.
Yeah. Which I can't stand about WSOP, by the way, how
Yeah.
the final tables aren't the full final table anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
Give me more poker. Nobody wants less poker.
And it now ended up, Dan, we actually had the 2 non-paying places, the bubbles, go out at the same time. So.
Yep. Wild bubble hand. 3-way all-in pre.
Yeah, real short sweat there.
Mixon raises it up to 60. JD, not a great hand. It's not going to make a good high or a good low. Like, I could see him just folding this.
He does.
Yeah. No scoop ability. Like, it's never fun to fold as Mixon hits the million mark. I believe that's the first time we've seen 1 million chips.
It is.
1.23 million in play. 41 entries times 30,000 starting stack.
Yep. You know, with JD starting off with the chip lead and keeping it all the way up till we got heads up, now we've got the first million chip mark, which is to be expected with just that few in play.
Dirty Dan's still on the rail for both of these players. I think both of these players. I don't think he's picked a side.
Nah. He's happy that one of them's going to win.
Limp pot here. Jackson 9s for Mixon. Middle cards working for him again.
Yeah, they are. That's been the difference so far.
Check, check. Ace of spades will give JD the flush draw. Also give him the 63 draw.
Mix can hit a queen as long as it's not a spade. Well, of course, the queen of spades in JD's hands.
He also doesn't need a spade or a queen. Like he has the best hand at the moment.
Yeah, he does.
35K. Mixon does call. 8 of hearts on the end, and Mixon remains the best hand, at least on the high side. JD's low does get there. He makes the 63. No low for Mixon.
He does block any straights with that 8. He's got the 10, so it's probably going to go check, check, unless the 2-3 feels like, excuse me, the 3-6 feels like that's good enough to bet. No.
Check, check.
Choppy, choppy.
All right, so the pot gets chopped and shipped to both of these players. And we'll get on to the next hand.
And
As we
the
remain heads up.
82, Jason Whittenham. I know there was an 83. Ever an 82 in basketball?
If there was, I'm sure it was like out with overheating every week. Like that's like a number that you stick on a starting park car. 83 was the Red Bull when Red Bull had their team. I think they used 83 and 84. Mixon with a beautiful ace to 5 hands.
That is a beautiful ace to 5.
And also a
With
beautiful 8 or
clubs.
better hands.
Not a horrible hand, but not clubs. Yeah, JD calls, but he's getting covered up with 2-5-4 just like his partner.
It's a lot of spades, and JD with the only hand that has 2 spades in it.
Yep.
So he's got the 8 high flush, does also have the 42 draw, Mixon with the nut low draw. And Mixon just has a pair of 6s and the straight draw. And they've gone in, and
This may be
JD's no, it's not.
quarters.
No, it's not for the tournament because Mixon's getting free
Right.
rolls.
Right.
Oh, okay, Mixon could backdoor a boat. Otherwise, he's getting free rolls. Now he's getting free rolls.
A6.
No, he backdoored the boat.
He
He
backdoored
backdoors the boat, and
Took me a second to
JD.
look up.
Yeah, so that is the backdoor, and
Wow.
There is a low. Yeah, they have the same low. So JD gets quartered.
Yeah. Wow. The second time he gets quartered.
I forgot that Mixon had an ace.
Yeah. Well, there at the end, he was.
So yeah, he
was
backdoored the
flipped.
low.
Yeah.
If Mixon didn't pick up 2 pair, he was getting free roll.
I'll take a picture of it for you.
Yeah. I mean, and JD goes from having a 3/4 for his cards to getting backdoored and 3/4. So that was just ugly. That's
Mixon,
twice now
Mixon's. It was pointed out Mixon's uncounterfeitable on the low, but at the same time, Mixon. If Mixon would have had, if Mixon doesn't pick up the 2 pair, he has no hope at the high. I forgot how to read the turn though. Like
you're
Mixon,
making me feel better as much as
Mixon had almost no chance at winning the high.
It's so easy to misread, but you don't do it. So
yeah,
makes me feel better that we had it. But again, JD now with 5 big blinds. So this is crunch time. He needs hands.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
you hate giving a walk in that spot.
Yep. He's got very little bark left, and he can't afford any more beaver chips off that 3 falls. He's just gonna. He needs a hand, and he needs it quick.
All right, Mixon on the button. As per the rules in live poker, service always shows up when it's their action.
Yeah, exactly. Or
No
Mixon
fault of the
decide
server,
to
that's
settle
just how
up
it
because
is.
he knows it's over.
And
there it
JD going
got it
to
87
put
terrible.
it in. Yeah, this is pretty raggedy. The pair of 9s actually ahead right now for high. Set of 9s.
Does get a set of 9s.
Mixon with a lot of outs though.
Diamonds.
King's full of 9s, so that's actually going to be a double up for JD.
Well, what have we said about these middle hands? They've hit time after time after time.
Yeah. So JD doubles up, and we're still here.
Yeah, we are still here as we play the Ocho Cinco.
Erica.
Well, they've been very, very determined. One being extremely low, and now the other being extremely low. A little bit better, still just a really, really at-risk stack. Not even 10 big blinds.
That's it.
More chip dumping? Yeah, chip dumping.
Definitely chip dumping right there.
On to the next hand.
All right, hand 85. That's probably good enough to shove as well. He's got clubs, Second clubs, 86, ace
And
king.
he's gonna limp. Like he's gonna be happy to see some flaps.
Okay,
Mixon's not gonna let him see flaps for cheap.
as he should.
He's gonna make it 60 with a bunch of middle cards that will surely get there.
Yeah, exactly. That's the. It's
If-
counterintuitive, but they have all gotten the middle hand.
If JD's hand was better, he probably goes with it. He's gonna call as it is and see a flap, and then decide whether to go with it. He's got less than pot behind, so
Oh wow.
Queen Jack Deuce. That's a gutter, and Mixon with a pair.
And open ended 10-9.
That he is.
And he's going to apply the pressure. It's probably going to work. It's going to leave him with just 120 behind.
Yeah, so Mixon put JD all in effectively there.
Yeah. It's like, what can I get? How can I get there?
Yeah, like a 10 is not quite enough. He has no good low draw, and he folds. So he'll be down to his last 4 big blinds, and one of those 4 is, or 5 big blinds rather. And one of those is going to go in momentarily.
Had ace king in my hand with queen jack out there.
And 86. So you calling? I mean, what is your thinking here? You've got 120.
Get a hand and win. That's my
That's
thinking. Like,
all you
there's
can
no
think.
thinking to
There's
this.
no
There's no
thinking.
thinking.
It's just prayer.
Oh.
Less thinking,
Yeah.
more prayer.
Yeah. We just have to win a pot.
Pretty good hand for Mixon. Pretty good high hand. Ace
60 and
yeah, don't you think?
this is not a good hand.
No, it's not.
This
but
is not a good hand, but he's going to go with it. He's got 2 suits.
Yeah, and
he's
doesn't
got 2
even have
suits.
the low hand. Ace 6.
Yeah, his low is pipped by the 62 or the 61 for Mixon. Here we go. JD at least is ahead with a pair. And set of deuces. That's good.
Yeah.
Straight draw for Mixon.
And the straight
there's
gets
the straight for Mixon.
Oh, still the straight.
And there's the straight for Mixon. And
No
there's
low.
no low.
That's it, folks.
That is it.
Ba-dee, that's all.
Mixon wins.
Mixon takes it down. Congratulations to him. Great heads up match. Quite a while with JD.
I know.
Yeah, very back and forth match. JD
I could say
had the chip lead pretty much until we got to the heads up phase, and then just had a couple hands go the wrong way. And then Mixon found the momentum, and he kept the momentum and got it done. So congrats to Mixon, adding another trophy to his collection.
Yeah.
JD playing a great game, and just one last reminder of the payouts. Mixon taking home $4,810, $3,210 for JD. You see the other payouts down the list. And one last reminder, come over here, TCH Social Austin. We've got our $250,000 guarantee going on right now. Our last flight's happening today. $250K guaranteed. We're pretty far off of that, so maybe some overlay. And the watch party at 3 o'clock, big Georgia Texas game. $1 beer, $2 jellyfish, I believe they're called. And so check all that out. On that note, thank you for watching. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. Find out every time we're on the air with those notifications.
Be safe, everyone. Will, safe travels. Hope you don't get to go till after.
Yeah, here's hoping. Final table Monday night on that quarter mill. William Wiley, New York Knit. On behalf of Uncle T, our dealers, our production staff,